Boom.
You hit it now so you don't forget.
Is the little one recording?
Yeah, I turned them both on.
Is the camera on? All right.
Yeah.
I got to figure out which way.
Yeah, it's all on.
Right, yeah.
Here.
Wave to the camera. You're not to the
Not the right.
not to the monitor. Yeah.
Boom.
There it is.
There it is.
I love that. I love that.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was gonna be in
That
the
was
background.
great. John missed it. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it's all on.
Right, yeah.
And now I know I need to mute my
Not
shit.
to the-
Right,
not to
absolutely.
the monitor.
It's all for a reason.
Picking us up. It's way deeper of a background than we thought.
Boom.
There it is.
There it is.
I love that. I love that.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was gonna be in
That
the
was
background.
great. John missed it. That's coming to the headphones, right? Yeah, yeah.
So good. You said get on the mic.
Now I know
Nowhere
I
near
need
the
to
mic.
mute my shit.
We've been telling people to get on the mic for years. Nowhere near the mic. Stop picking it up.
Boom.
There it is.
There it is.
I love that. I love that.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was gonna be in
That
the
was
background.
great. John missed it. That's coming to the headphones, right? Yeah, yeah.
So good. You said get on the mic.
Now I know
Nowhere
I
near
need
the
to
mic.
mute my shit.
Why are we hearing it?
We've been telling people to get on the mic for years. Nowhere near the
John's.
mic. Stop picking it
I'm
up.
like, we're not even talking. Did we none of us realize this yet?
Well, like, oh yeah, this is a good show.
Honestly,
This
the
is a
funny
good
part was,
show.
I thought it was you replaying it, and we were listening to your computer and not
No,
even
I'm
thinking about
like,
his.
Something's not right. I'm like, I just muted everything. I'm like, did it get worse?
Why are we hearing it?
We've been telling people to get on the mic for years. Nowhere near the
John's.
mic. Stop picking.
See, this is
Did it
all.
stop?
This is all. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's just him listening to commercials that ends up being us.
Right.
All right. All right. Good. That's good.
Sweet.
Just the heat rattling
Oh,
event.
that's what it is? All right.
Yeah. At least I
At
think
least
that's what it
at least
is.
he's working.
It's
I went to the barn today, and I'm like, does it smell like propane? Ah, fuck.
Leak?
Now the tanks are empty.
Oh.
So like the last wisp of propane is just sitting in there and nothing fired. So it's like way colder than it should be, and I gotta go to the thing tomorrow to get them filled.
How big your tanks do you have?
I have 200 gallons. I'm trying. I
And
want to
you
get
take them to get filled? You
I
don't.
do.
You don't have someone come and do it?
So we have the guy that comes to the house, but they're still like grill style. They don't have the adapters on the truck to fill them. They're not supposed to do it. If I got the 250 from them, which I would love to do, I just don't know if there's a permitting process I'm supposed to go through.
Yeah.
So, twice a year if I have to bite the bullet and bring them. So. The guy on the truck would do me the solid. He's like, I just don't have the thing. He already talked to him. He's like, oh, I'll fill it. I just don't have the thing. I'm like, well, how much is the thing? Where do we get the thing?
I was gonna say.
Can I leave the thing hanging in the back? Like, can we?
That and $100
Look
bill.
up, yeah, can we
You know,
work up a
just like-
thingy? Yeah.
It works.
Hop on the YouTube Live. We're about to start. We got Justin with us again. Return guest.
Round
For
2.
all the day ones will know what's up.
Yeah, he was a pre-mark guest.
Nope. He was, yeah.
You were here?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
It must have been early days for you.
Early days.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited about what's about to come out of that little canister right there.
Dude, it's gonna, in a really good way, it's gonna fuck you guys.
Fuck yes, I can't wait. I cannot wait.
In the nicest and most positive way.
You're always so gentle with that.
I got my polar seltzers. I'm ready to go.
Look at you.
Kill it.
Everybody good?
Don't hit that one. Don't hit that one.
No, I'm gonna hit this one. I was making sure we're already red. I'm gonna hit this one.
Yeah, okay.
Don't
yeah,
worry.
Yeah, all right. Do the first 20 minutes for nothing.
I didn't fix the audio on that thing yet, Mark. So just don't play that.
I thought you did last time.
I tried. I couldn't figure it out.
Oh. All right.
Hello, hello. I'm John Stairs. You're listening to Topics Under the Stairs. As always, I'm joined by Ryan and Mark.
Hello there.
How we doing?
Tonight we have a very special return guest. We have Justin Enis with us. Now we will say Justin of Enjoy Coffee Roasters.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
That's right.
I think
sounds good.
I think we briefly touched on this last time you were here, right?
I think we did.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what month or when it was, but
It was.
I think
we were talking
Enjoy
about
was-
early Mark. I didn't even think Mark was here, but
I
yeah,
was, yeah.
he
I can
reminded
do
me.
it.
I feel
I'll
like
look right now, John.
Do some quick math here. If I just type Justin in here, it was September of 22. So it was like 2 and a few months, 2 years and a few months ago.
Oh wow! Actually, that's like right. Am I close enough? Is this?
Yeah, you're
yeah.
perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, it's September 22. That was right before the pop-up I did that kind of like really jump-started Enjoy, kind of like its second round,
Sweet.
which I don't know what round I'm in now, but
Yeah.
now I'm full-time.
Well, we're gonna
You're like the fourth round, fifth round with Rocky. Like, I don't know what's going on. Mick, cut my eye. Cut me. Yeah.
take a deep dive on what Justin's been up to for the last couple of years since we've chatted. It really doesn't seem like 2 years. That's fucking crazy.
That is wild.
But yeah, we'll do that pretty soon. We're just gonna do our housekeeping first. Before we do anything, this episode's brought to you by Revival Motoring, revivalmotoring.com for everything about the network. You can check out all the information about the shows, the new merch, links to the YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to the shows, you can find right through there. You can actually stream all the shows right from the website. There's us here at Topics Under the Stairs, Revival Motoring, our friends at Loose is Fast. You can read information about all the shows. You can check out the web store. There's some cool merch up there. When you listen to this now, there's a shirt that I had a stupid idea for that was like based on a conversation they had on the podcast. I don't know if you guys saw the video of the guy driving the Subaru through the car dealership.
Oh, yes. We've talked about this.
So are you familiar with this?
Not at all.
Oh, it's great.
Oh, it's so funny. I'll pull it up.
All of
Yeah.
it's great.
But basically,
He was a disgruntled customer and told them, if you don't take the car back, I'll drive
I'm
going to
drive this car through the dealership.
And then he did it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no,
He did it. And
he is the exception that proves the rule. He
Yeah,
just-
so
sometimes you gotta
they
do
were
what you gotta
talking
do.
about it on a lot of people saw the video, and Chuck was talking about it on the Revival Motoring podcast, and he was basically like, this guy, like when we're all buying cars, he's the hero that is gonna back us all up when we say like, listen, if you don't give me this free floor mats, like I'm gonna drive this car through the showroom. And like usually you'd think like that's not really gonna happen, but this guy kind of backed up the story. So
Using audio here.
He stood on his business, man.
yeah, he did.
He launched that fucker right through the front door.
Yeah, so that's the shirt.
That's him telling him to take the car back.
The best part of
That's
this
in
is the audio when he gets out of the car. He's like, I fucking told you I was going to do it.
Yeah, he
I
did.
can
I
say-
tell
told you. Call the
Just like
cops.
real matter of fact.
Yeah.
Yes.
This would be Mark. Mark would say, I fucking told
Oh
you.
yeah, but I can't find the original quick. But yeah, but this is the Revival Motoring shirt with a picture of him after the car's been driven through the dealership, and it says,
There it is.
"Yeah, sometimes reasonable men must do unreasonable things," and that is a quote from the guy that drove the tank around the town. That was
The
yeah.
armor tank.
Yeah,
armor
yeah,
tank
that's a
back.
direct quote from him.
Don't do that, kids. Nobody,
Yeah.
nobody should do that.
So
Well, yeah, I know. Yep.
sometimes, the point is,
Legally.
sometimes reasonable men need to do unreasonable things, and this is a shirt to remind us of that.
Don't take threats lightly.
And yeah, and you can
That's
hop
really
on
the lesson here.
Revival Motoring and grab the shirt right now. It's got a cute smiley face on the front,
Dude, I love that so much.
so you should definitely go grab that shirt because from what I've been told by the Revival Motoring
It's the
podcast
best-selling
daddy,
shirt we've ever had.
A, it's the best-selling shirt we've ever had. B, I think it goes off sale tomorrow. Like today and tomorrow are your last chances to buy it. That's Friday, the 10th. So go buy the shirt. That's the story. If you want to not buy merch, that's fine. Tell a friend about one of the shows. Share when you're listening. Post it on your stories. If you're on a road trip and you get a car full of people, force them to listen. And then go on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and rate the show. Follow it on whatever platform you're listening. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that little bell. Do a subscribe. And if you want to help even more, you can join the Buck for the Boys.
Bucks for the boys!
Bucks for the Boys. It's our value for value method to help keep the lights on here at the studio. It has purchased Mark and Justin new microphone stands that do not sag. The old microphone stands.
I knew there was one there. I didn't know there was another one there.
Josh added that this week.
Nice.
The old microphone
One a week,
stands
baby.
by now would be dropped down to the table. The struts in them had
John
failed.
and I generally finished the show under the table,
Yeah, exactly. Ours work fine.
which, you know.
What I don't know what that says,
I
but
never complained.
yeah, but ours work
Say I
fine.
never
For
heard
some
you
reason,
complain.
those two did not work fine, and but now they're fixed, and that's thanks to the listeners like you. So thank you for
It's our
contributing.
true PBS style.
Yep, PBS style. And if you are a member of the Bucks for the Boys system, you're automatically entered every month in a raffle to win gear, and a lot of it is from previous guests, from listeners. Right now, TD's has made some custom leather goods that are specifically for Bucks for the Boys winners that you cannot buy from Revival or TDS Manufacturing. So if you win, you get them. Mark's relatives have won them,
Yes.
so it is real. It is not a sham.
In
Right.
a rare twist, TD's is in the only part of the country not getting absolutely fucked by weather and fires right now.
Yeah, I mean,
He's
he's in Florida,
he's
so they're
generally getting screwed,
like,
but like he
it's
might be in
pretty
a
much
pocket right
bad
now.
in every other way. But yeah, they recently banned like pornography in Florida, so I don't know what's next. Now they're gonna just start banning websites in Florida. That's the new thing.
Well, let's not get into that.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's not open a door we can't close.
yeah.
So,
I'm just saying,
yeah.
let's not sugarcoat Florida.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying for like the 2 weeks of the year, he's not getting absolutely like
Yeah, yeah,
flooded
yeah.
or
Yeah.
rain.
There's no hurricane.
tornadoes.
There's no
fucking
fires.
Sharknadoes, whatever
Yeah.
else. Did you see like just to touch
There's
on
definitely
the
like
wildfires in California?
human-sized, human-eating anacondas that are on the loose
Oh,
there.
absolutely. I mean,
Speaking
that's
of
the
snakes.
least of their worries.
Yeah.
I was watching 2 fire tornadoes next to each other in California.
Yeah.
Like what? This is like the reckoning. This is fucking not good. Oh man.
No bueno.
Scary
Then-
times.
In Chicago, there was some pilot taking video, and you could see like the rain clouds, and it was just a really weird rain band, like of just raining down.
It's so strange when
And
you
then
can
to
see
the
the
left-
wall of rain.
It was lightning fire, like not like just like the little bolt. It was like fire coming down.
It was a Mark IV kid on the highway doing a two-step.
He was definitely two-stepping.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the world is reclaiming itself. It's
Yeah.
like, we're done with you.
Nature is
and
healing.
It's time to go. Yeah.
You had your shot.
Yep.
You did. You fucked it up.
You
And
definitely
here we
fucked
are.
it up.
Yeah.
Callbacks? You said you had a funny callback.
I do have a funny callback. I don't know if I want to lead with that.
Oh,
It's kind of a closing.
it's a
callback.
closer
Oh,
callback.
okay. I don't have any.
You don't have any callbacks. Do I have a callback?
You did.
I did say
You
I
talked
had
about it at the bar.
one.
See what
You did.
happens?
What was the one I said I had? Didn't I tell you what it was?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good.
Nobody was listening.
It must have been not that impressive.
We'll think of it.
All
right,
I will not.
I won't.
I don't have a chance.
Yeah, I have news stories. That's it.
Was the car? Not your car. I see you found the lights.
Yeah. So that's actually fun. There was these weird lights that I needed for the new car because the European spec Mark IIs had these fender lights that the US ones didn't. And I wanted ones that matched the rest of my lighting that I had. So I made a post, and the Mark II community is so awesome. I had like numerous people messaging me about sets they found. Most of the ones were ones I had already found that were like, in Latvia and stuff. And I could have gotten them, but it was like, I was just like way overpaying with
Dumb
crazy
money,
shipping. And, it is what it is. If I'm ordering something big and it's like an add-on, it's not a big deal, but it's like, I don't want to pay like $50 to ship something like, 1 inch by 1 inch here. So a guy in New Jersey, I know, big shouts to Angel in New Jersey, had a set that he was going to use and wasn't using them, and he was willing to sell them at a very reasonable rate. And I literally Venmo'd him, and I had them the next day.
Oh wow.
So the dude rules.
Gotta love that.
Yep. So it's awesome because it's like lights that haven't been made for 20 years, and on top of it, they don't fit any U.S. cars. It's for like the fender turn signals that weren't on any U.S. spec cars. So it's like stuff that was never in this country, plus haven't been made for 20 years.
I literally, when I had my Jetta, I fucking drilled holes.
Oh, you drilled the holes for him?
And I put them in.
Yeah, yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So,
many years ago.
I was really pumped to get those. So it was like small victories, but just a cool little bit that I was worried about not being able to find, and now I have them. So
Very cool.
That's my exciting news. Yeah, I don't really have any other callbacks. Obviously, what I said at the bar wasn't that
Fuck. I
You'll
have
catch
exciting.
no idea what it was.
What was your big one? What's your big
no.
exciting one?
No, I have a few other ones.
Oh,
I also have a car callback.
sorry.
No, it's all right. I also have a car callback.
Okay.
Last Saturday, Blake was at the house.
Yes.
And he had a couple hours to himself, and it was fucking cold as shit last Saturday. And he looked at me, he was like, "Hey, let's pull the motor out of your buggy." And I was like, "Oh, I'm in pajamas. I don't really want to." Okay, I'll get dressed. Then we went outside and we jockeyed some shit around. We put the buggy on the lift and ripped the motor out and
Nice.
trying to figure out why my clutch didn't work. And there's no reason why it didn't work.
Does it work now?
I mean, you can push the pedal down now. You couldn't before.
Huh.
And we pulled the clutch and pressure plate out, and
And everything looks okay on
there's
that
no
side.
reason why it shouldn't have worked.
So in
All I
theory, if you put it back, it will work.
Hopefully. But before I put it back, I have many, many things to do. So
Okay.
I have new carbs to put on. I have transmission to pull out and strip down and change.
I did all that last week as well.
So yeah, so there's
Chris
some
and Anthony.
fun
Shouts to those
projects.
guys. They helped me a bunch.
I ordered my new front beam, parts of it. So that is showing up to the house in a couple of different boxes, and we're putting that together and
Nice.
getting everything ready for the Luft Classic.
Yeah. Luft Klassiker.
That's right.
Very exciting stuff.
Very exciting. That's in May. More details to come. Not John. Mark, this is for you.
Oh.
The New Jersey drones.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is a theory as to who it is.
Oh, really?
It is Disney World.
Okay. Go on.
Scouting land for a new park. I say this with a tongue in cheek because it's kind of funny.
Okay.
This is the theory I've seen a couple of times actually.
Really?
Yes. They think it's Disney scouting land for either a new park or to move Disney from Florida up to New Jersey.
So it's like a Mickey Mouse drone, is what you're saying?
That is the
Well, that's something.
that's the whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
That is
Knock
pretty
down
good.
MetLife Stadium and just erase the Jets from my life.
Are you a football guy?
Yeah.
I would have never guessed.
Unfortunately,
I would have never guessed.
it's a hard life.
You're a Jets fan?
Yeah. Man.
Oh, you poor
Yeah.
son of a
I know.
bitch.
I know.
Ugh.
I'm sorry, guys. I'll leave.
No, it doesn't affect me
No,
because
that's
I literally.
fine. No one worries about you.
You're it's like you're speaking another language to me. Like I don't even know. I barely know that the Jets are a football team.
The Patriots ate shit this year, and we called the last game whatever. It is what it is. Everyone has their own opinions about how we won the last game but lost the first pick in the draft.
It's great.
And they're firing the coach now after
He's
the last
fired.
game?
Gone.
Well, he was fired.
He is
Yeah.
fired. He was
One and
fired
done.
like an hour after the game was done.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
It's his fault.
Do we know who the new coach is yet?
Not yet.
No,
Mike
but
Vrabel.
everyone, it's gonna be
Everyone's
Vrabel.
speculating.
Everyone knows who's going to be.
What if it's not that?
That would be a surprise. I feel like this has been in the works for. The more you hear about what people have talked about, I know you're not a sports guy.
Imagine if this was a football podcast.
No, because you wouldn't be here. And I miss you, John. You'd be out somewhere talking about
That'd be
fucking
wild.
goals and home runs and shit.
Yeah. Sounds awful.
Anyway,
I do want to go to a football game. I've never gone to one before.
God, there's so much
I like going to games.
it's NASCAR. Like the tailgate of NASCAR is football. Like
Okay, that's cool.
you do the same thing, and you just go watch a football game instead of watching NASCAR.
And I want to go to hockey. I've never gone to hockey either.
It's
Hockey
better than,
seems
it's better
good
than
time.
football.
Better to watch it live. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather watch football at home.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
To go to a football game is all about the tailgate experience.
Yeah.
Because you can't see
Once you're
shit,
in
can't
there-
hear shit. You don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. If you're not really paying attention, you can miss.
You're 3 plays
you can miss a whole
behind.
series.
You have no idea
Yeah.
what's
And
going
you're,
on.
you're freezing and you're
Yeah.
watching me, at least. I'm watching my team lose every time. So
At least hockey, you can see
Everything.
real-time
And
action.
yeah, everything. The clock
No
stops.
matter where you
Everything.
sit, that is a very fair assessment.
I hope to go to a hockey game this year. It's on my agenda for the winter.
All right.
So we'll see.
Well, yeah, you get all the way up to like May, April.
That long?
Yeah.
Well,
So
They're doing the Stanley Cup in like June now.
82 games.
that's insane.
So
It's
40.
like
something
almost
at home.
baseball.
Yeah.
Wow. Wild. Yeah, I don't remember what my other callback was. So is that all you have another
No, I got
callback?
more.
Yeah, okay.
One is your child. Are they into sports yet? Like, do they play anything? Are they into like the?
my daughter,
Yes.
she bowls,
That's
Okay.
awesome.
which is like another secret life of mine. I'm a
Interesting.
competitive bowler.
Yeah.
I think you told me
what's
that.
up.
might have
that
told you
does
that.
Yeah,
that
that
ring.
does ring
I
a bell.
remember. I think I remember that as well.
So yeah, she has a couple trophies from her like junior bowling league.
That's awesome.
That's
which
awesome.
She's very proud about, which is sick.
That's awesome.
But that's great for her.
Full size, or is it like candle pin or duck pin? Or
Full size.
that's awesome.
Full size.
Yep.
This is not going to really probably ring true, but like I'm talking about sports parents.
Sure. That.
And this is, I mean, I can't imagine people in the bowling alley just screaming at your kid
Oh,
like, "Block 'em!"
you'd be
Really?
really surprised.
Wow. I would really love to hear about this.
How old is your daughter now?
She'll be 7 in March.
That's awesome. And she's at how many seasons has she bowled now?
So I should clarify or be specific. She took this year off for dance.
Okay.
So I am hopeful that
Dance.
there'll be. I
Ooh,
know.
that's a rough.
Yeah.
That's a rough road. Good
Tell me
luck.
about it.
Good luck.
It's been really tough.
Yeah.
I did the ballet dance thing for a couple of years. Thankfully, we sidestepped that landmine.
We've had a few weeks off now with the holidays and everything, which my wife and I have both been like, wow, this is so much nicer.
Yeah.
It's not the dance. It's not the class. It's the 475 uniforms a week you have to come up with.
Yeah, that and it's just it's the vibe is
Yeah.
not
Everyone
not-
thinks their kid's going somewhere. And
Yeah.
They're just not.
The vibe isn't vibing.
it's not vibing for me.
That's a running theme for where I'm going with this. So Andrew, my son plays the drums.
Yep.
And he plays the drums in the like pep band or whatever, and they play some of the games, basketball, whatever. So this after New Year's, they started the basketball season, or they might have been going before, but whatever. He started playing. So I went to go see him the other day. I'm sitting there. We're watching. It is a high school basketball. Happen to be the boys. He plays both boys and girls games, depending whatever's home. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's a boys game. The people. It just so happens that where the band plays
Yep.
is where the other team's parents generally sit if they come.
Okay.
So there's like a section for
Yeah.
not that it's cordoned
There's
off,
home
but
and away. Yeah.
Everyone's sort of
Yeah.
you know,
the
moves to
the
one side or
away
the other.
people and the home people are on
right.
their.
But I'm there to watch my
respective
kid
sides.
play. I could give a fuck about the basketball game. I got no stake in this game. I could
Yeah.
care less. I'm sitting there in the mix of the other parents and just the people yelling. It is wild. I hate basketball. Could care less about basketball.
Yeah.
I understand how it works. Except apparently there's a whole bunch of rules I don't know. Some guy is sitting next to me and he is just yelling. He's just counting down. He's like 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, ref 10.
Oh, as far as like the individual
a-
play counter or something.
So
Is it like-
I know there's
I
like
don't
a
know, yeah.
3 second in the key rule.
What's that crossing
And-
the half court line?
I guess, but they were playing the other way. They were on the other side.
Well, and the other thing that with younger kids, maybe they like let shit slide a bit
I mean,
too. I don't know.
I don't know where that cutoff would be, is because these are this is high school,
Yeah. Okay.
so I guess they're getting closer to college. Whatever, you're playing like a real rules at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
For the most part,
Apparently
I understand
that
the shot
guy.
clock and I understand the 3 second rule.
Maybe that
Or
guy
5
didn't
second
think
rule.
the rules were right.
This guy was fucking wild. We are like D7. We are nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody here is going to the fucking NBA. Nobody. If you go to the NBA, you are like the guy in the locker room doesn't even come out. Like you're not doing anything. Holy shit, relax, bro. He was, and this guy was an older guy. I'm 48. He was 60
Yeah.
easily. And he's screaming at his kid who's still in high school. So, I don't know what you were thinking there, but whatever. Pump the brakes, bro. Like, you're going to have a fucking stroke.
Yeah.
Wild.
So
get way into
angry.
it.
So angry. And then they're like playing, and he's like screaming all this shit that again, I don't know what any of it means.
Maybe high school basketball is his passion.
It could be. Maybe he doesn't even have a kid there. Maybe he's just there. I don't know. But
I love rules.
I know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The other thing is, I want to go watch my kid play drums, and I gotta pay to go into the game.
That's annoying.
So I gotta pay $7 to walk into a game I don't want to watch to hear my kid play the same 4 songs I've heard him play 1,000 times. Which I will listen to him. I love it. I love watching him play. It's amazing. I can't do it. It's whatever. But it's going to cost me $60 a week between me and the wife. My daughter goes like...
So what, the callbacks on how crazy the parents are?
For that part, yeah. We've talked about sports parents and sports coaches.
Yeah, they're fucking
and how
nuts.
fucking crazy they are.
Yeah.
And I would love to get a coach in or something. We've talked about this many times.
We should do that.
But yeah, it's just... why do people get so angry?
Yeah.
We're not going anywhere with this. Like, we're really not.
They don't see people fail.
I understand if, like, you're playing, like, D1 and this game means your kid's getting a fucking full ride to, like, you know, St. John's or something, whatever, some crazy basketball college. I get it. I get it. Your fucking heart's there.
Yeah, check.
Everyone, we got to remember where we are, I think, at some point.
I don't know. I mean, I get it. It's passion. It's in the moment, so it doesn't matter what the level is. You don't want to fail. I'm a very competitive person,
I know
so
you are.
I
know
get
you
it.
are. I can see. And I'm not gonna say I think I would.
I mean, I got kicked out coaching a pee-wee hockey game, right? I mean, that's how competitive I am.
Yeah.
Let's make it official. You throw the chair at him. Let's make it
If I
official.
wasn't available, I probably would have.
Have some respect for yourself. As Cat starts to coach the team.
Yeah.
But no, all right. So this is my big callback, and this is hilarious.
Okay.
Our brothers have paired up. Do you know this?
Oh, I know. Yep.
All right. I didn't know if you were going to talk about it.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to talk about it.
All right.
But I knew. Yeah.
I know very little, but it might be something different. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, no. It's probably what you know. So my brother Blake, who we've had on several times, and his brother Craig, who we've had on several times, got together this week for a phone call about something, and it turned into some other discussion.
Yeah.
But what I really have
I don't know what the
surmised,
discussion was.
it was all about
The
spots.
big takeaway is
We know what Blake does for a living.
yeah.
Depends who you talk to.
I learned what Blake does for a living from Craig.
So we still don't know.
But
We have a big idea.
Yeah.
But this has been a running theme for 3 years, and no one knows what he does.
Yeah.
He's a
Well-
consultant.
He's a consultant.
That's the word that you use when you don't actually know what they do.
Exactly.
Craig's a consultant.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
Craig.
both consulting each other.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm like, Craig, you should talk to Blake because it seems like he doesn't actually do anything like you. and you run in the same circles. So I'm like, I feel like you guys should just have a call.
So it was really funny. So I was talking to Blake, and he said, I was talking to Craig, and I said, I work for a company that does AI integration that reads this and some acronyms.
They
or
use the
whatever
same
in insurance-
buzzwords.
Correct. In the insurance world. And he's like, Craig's the only person I've ever said that to who knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Even
Craig
if
was
Craig
like,
didn't, though,
you're not going
he
to
would've
believe.
acted like
he would
he
have
did.
pretended like he did. Yeah, for sure.
But no, Blake said he genuinely knew exactly what he was talking
No,
about.
Craig called me and he was like, you're not going to believe what Blake does. You know, when my company's vetting a new customer and Blake's company has this technology and, you know, they basically do the background check on the customer before I sign a
Correct.
policy with them. I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, I don't know if I feel better or worse that I know this now. I don't know.
I guess I must have answered the phone like an asshole to Craig or something because he didn't give me all the details. He's just like, he's like, I talked to Blake. I said, okay. Yeah, really nice guy. I said, Blake. I said, Blake, Ryan's brother from the podcast, Blake? He's like, yeah. I said, yeah, he's a great guy. He's like, do you know what he does for work? Yeah, he's a consultant. He's like, oh. And that was it. Like, he just was like, oh.
Yeah.
And I think he might have tried to, like, get into it. And I'm like, yeah, he just talks to people. Yeah, like, I get it.
Yeah, he does what you do. He like does lunches and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that was really funny because the funny part was Blake's like, "Hey, I'm going to lunch with Craig because he wants to talk more about it."
Yeah,
And I was like, it's too bad you
Craig's
don't play
entire
golf,
workday
'cause
is
I've
like,
heard you can
it's
get a
just
good
going to
golf play out
lunch.
of Craig.
Craig goes to lunch so many times every day. His whole job is going to lunch with people. It's or golf.
That's what I
Lunch or
said.
golf.
It's too bad you don't play golf.
Yeah,
But anyway, that was my big callback. We have a
Yeah.
glimpse into what Blake actually does for a living.
yeah. We'll see. We will see. That's for sure.
We should have them both on at the same time.
That'd be great.
I know.
That'd be great.
And we could tell Craig it's for his job.
Oh, TD's I'm gonna open this segment with Florida news.
All right, let's hit it.
Breaking news.
And this is real because I've witnessed it happen when I was in Florida.
Frozen iguanas.
Yes, Florida residents warned.
The cold spell
I
going through there.
think you've talked about this before.
Yeah,
Maybe.
we've done it before.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
And it's a great concept. Florida residents are warned to prepare for falling iguanas, not iguanamas. Iguanas.
Hey, just
amid temperature drop. Yeah.
Who am
No, when I was in Florida last time, TD's knows he's throwing the iguanas.
Yeah.
Now, when I was in Florida last time, we had gotten off our no, it wasn't last time. 2 times ago, we got off our cruise and we were just chilling in Miami for the day, and we're sitting on a park bench looking at the water, and we just hear behind us, and I'm like, "What the fuck was that?" And I turn around, and there's like a 3.5 foot iguana behind us. It just fell out of the tree a foot behind us.
I think the
Dead.
fucked up part is Frozen is not like 30 degrees. Frozen's like 60.
Yeah.
55 degrees, they start
Right.
dropping.
Exactly. And this thing just fell like 20 feet.
Yeah.
And it just like kind of shook it off and walked away.
Well, it was really funny because I saw
Yeah,
the
it was fine.
I saw the projected map for Florida for like that 1 or 2 days where they're supposed to get out in the 20s, and I was like, I just wanted to yell at Tommy Mack, be like, "You bring New Hampshire with you, motherfucker! You can't get anywhere."
TD's, dude, I'm so tired of hearing about these goddamn frozen iguanas. Every year people are like, oh my God, iguanas. TD's, the coolest thing we have up here is like a squirrel. Like, we don't have anything exciting
Under
like that
40
up
they
here.
drop.
We don't have any exciting animals up here. You know, we have this thing called a fisher cat. That's kind
We
of
have
cool.
a lot of
You
exciting animals.
you
They're just
probably
not,
have that, too.
Like they're deep in the fucking woods.
Yeah.
They have alligators.
They live in real places.
Alligators win. Like
Like
nobody's
Maine
beating
and
alligators.
Vermont,
TD's
where
has
people
way
don't build
cooler
anything.
animals
They actually can
than
live
we
their
do.
life.
TD's, don't judge us for getting excited about your cool animals.
No, you can judge us because I say the same thing. How people get
yeah.
so excited about iguanas.
Whatever, jerks.
And
I'm not even.
I've never lived in Florida.
I'm not even reading my other news stories. Do your thing today in history.
Is it just more iguana
iguanas?
news?
Nope. You'll never know.
Today in history.
Hey, Ryan, did you have any news?
No.
1768, Philip Astley opens the world's first modern circus. It was in Britain.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Long before Barnum and Bailey.
Yeah. It was like, just as it says, perform tricks and audience in the afternoons. 1861, the first shots of the American Civil War were fired.
Wow.
1922, insulin is used for the first time to treat diabetes in a 14-year-old child.
They do it insulin. They didn't do it with diabetes was back then.
1922?
No shit.
Yeah, I guess not.
That's
Well,
cool.
no, apparently they did because they used it. I'm just saying that they had already like figured out what.
Yeah.
That's cool.
1985, the first Rock in Rio Music Festival is held.
Good year.
I knew you'd like that. 2022, the first prisoners arrive in Guantanamo Bay.
Quite a week in history.
It was actually, there was a ton of shit. I was just like, no, I can't. I'm not reading this. They don't even teach us in history books anymore.
TD said, John, read the news. Don't let my disdain towards lizards stop your shine.
I know.
You know what has stopped my shine is I want to know about what's in that pot.
I've been like tempted to pour it out, but I don't want to do it before talking about
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
I don't
want
want us to skip
but
through
I,
that.
But I do want to talk about coffee now because I want to know what's in that pot.
All right, fuck it. Let's do coffee.
Coffee.
What up?
Tell us what has happened. All right, so the last time you were here,
Yeah, let's get a little backstory for people who may not know who Justin is.
if you haven't listened yet, we had Justin on like 2.5 years ago. You're basically a coffee not basically, you are a coffee sommelier. What's the technical term for that?
The technical term for that is a Q grader.
Q grader.
Yep.
So you
The
have
sommelier is
formal like a wine sommelier,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So you have formal training in wine, in coffee tasting and identification. You have been roasting coffee for many years now. You've worked for a couple different roasting companies. Most recently, before your own company, you were at Fuel, right?
Yes.
And you were there for quite a while. And now you have developed your own brand, and you're on a different path at this point and I'm excited to hear about it.
Dude, yeah.
So is that a correct summary?
100%. Yeah.
You were probably one of our, and I don't want to put a number on it, but top 10-ish most. We had the most feedback from your episode.
Yeah.
Oh, get out of here.
People
Sick.
I think.
loved hearing about the ins and outs of coffee.
Well, I think the thing that was the most interesting is like a lot of people are into coffee, obviously, and I think the formal training you went through for that Q grading process is just unbelievable. That whole background, I feel like that you must appreciate the leg up that you have from that compared to maybe other people in the business that haven't gone through that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like the actual like certification is one that's like needs to be renewed every couple years, right? And so like currently not a Q grader, so I should be clear with that. However, I graded in my time with this company called Equal Exchange, which is based in West Bridgewater, Mass. I graded probably something like 10,000 coffees a year for 2.5 years.
Wow.
With the kind of cohort that I was like kind of like a tasting member of, we're all Q graders. So like that sort of what's the word, calibration, you know what I mean, it is real, especially with that many reps.
And that stays with you, certified currently or not.
100%. And like I
Certification is always just a couple of dollars away, right?
it's a couple
It's the same with licenses. Like,
Yeah.
I have a professional license. If I didn't renew it this year for $50, I would no longer be here. Like, really?
Yeah.
For $50.
And like I get the purpose of like recertifying, right? Because like as we age, like our palate changes, and like
Especially for what you're doing, absolutely.
Things change, and like bottom line, like what the farmers are getting dollars and cents wise is dependent on what what number score, how
What grade
good-
it gets.
exactly, how
Yeah.
good is that coffee? And so I fully get it, but I agree. Like that Rolodex that kind of was like developed over that time is something I lean on like every day.
And it's not something that you necessarily need the certification for to do what you're doing now.
No, though I do feel like, when folks look at coffee, and I think it might be like an inner industry leg up, perhaps. Like if someone's like, oh shit, the coffee buyer and roaster for Enjoy is a Q grader.
Yep.
Like
So they know your stuff.
Exactly. It does help. So I'll certainly I think I will, do it. But it's an investment. It's a 6-day test.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's like you're taking a week out of work, and it's not just a week out of work; it's a week out of your
own
business now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if your company offers for PTO or anything. But yeah.
What?
Yeah, exactly. So, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know where we're going with that. Yeah, that's me. I've been doing it forever. And so Enjoy. I stepped fully into the business this past October.
Yep.
Which was terrifying. And somehow a quarter has gone by, and it's been going really, really well.
That's awesome.
And you already kind of had some products that you were developing on your own prior to going fully on your own, right?
Yeah.
So you had a small customer base. Some people knew the name.
Yeah, it kind of like, I don't know, I kind of fell into doing it, right? And so, when I started at Fuel, it kind of opened up some creative bandwidth, which allowed kind of Enjoy to kind of...
Yeah, Fuel was really cool about your passion to roast your own product and develop this, right?
100%. Yeah. Super supportive. And yeah, so basically there was a year and a half, maybe a little bit more, where I was releasing one coffee a month under the Enjoy name. And, every month, not only was there like a sellout, but volume increased. And we're talking about 17, 18 months, compounding. And so over that time was trying to build the brand, with a kind of loyal consumer base, B2C.
Yep.
But then also 7-8 months in, I was like, oh, let me see, if I can get some soft wholesale going. And so it really panned out. It couldn't have been a better kind of ease into it. One, I was waiting for roasting equipment to get here, building out the roastery all at the same time, but was able to kind of grow a loyal following, both in terms of wholesale clients and, consumers before I was able to, not before I was able, but before I stepped fully into the business.
That's awesome. So you already have some accounts with retail spaces that carry the product as well?
Yeah. We have about 17 wholesale accounts right now.
That's awesome.
New York City up to maybe soon Philly,
Wow.
if you guys are listening.
Yeah, that's sweet.
I hope
Yeah,
Philly
I mean,
comes on board.
Where's Becker?
Yeah.
Get you boys into it.
Yeah, and then up to Portland, Maine. So
wow, that's great.
Yep.
So kind of all over New England.
Yeah, it's happening.
That's exciting.
Upper East Coast, really, not even
Yeah.
New England.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So little by little.
Yep. Do you have some like flagship products that you always make one particular roast, or is it always ever rotating?
Yeah. So this coffee here, the 5 Points blend.
Yep.
Is kind of like the in the coffee world, or like in the specialty world, blends do great for wholesale. One, the like cost of value proposition on them is always like favorable.
Yep.
And two, people like consistency. I think.
Yeah, for people's morning coffee at 6 in the morning,
You don't wanna think about
you don't want to think about it. I know I like this.
Yep.
And I want to try something new. I want to slam this in a mug and get to work.
Yep. And 5 Points kind of occupies that space where, certainly the inputs that comprise that blend are changing throughout the year as seasonality of crop changes.
Yeah, the reality is your starting raw organic material is going to evolve.
It's going to evolve. And the inputs will change as well, but it's my job, and it's something I've done for over 10 years, is figuring out, no matter what coffees are in front of me, how do I kind of create this flavor profile?
Does that consist of like, all right, this season I know the beans I'm getting are a little more this or a little more that, so I need to roast it this much longer. Are you making changes like that, or
It could. That's like a variable that's like definitely a card in the pocket.
Okay.
I think I'm mostly thinking on like a calendar year basis in terms of like what countries are harvesting when are those shipments coming, what can fill this avatar of flavor, what can fill this avatar of flavor.
as far as availability seasonally?
Exactly. That way everything that's, being used is fresh, you know what I mean, and not like old coffee.
Yep.
Because that has a flavor of its own and also really kind of handcuffs a roaster.
I've had Starbucks. It's fine.
Boom. Got him.
Yep.
Burnt all the time. Why is it burnt?
Yeah. So that's kind of like as of now, the one kind of standing product. And then I have 6 to 8 single origin coffees that rotate around that 5 Points blend kind of at any given time.
Okay, cool. So those ones are kind of more evolving, bespoke. It depends on the season. And that's just one. There's no blend at all.
No blend. It could, like, an interesting thing is like people they hear the word single origin, but oftentimes that can still be a blend.
Oh, okay.
Technically speaking, for example, if it's like a municipality, so it's not one producer.
Yep.
But maybe a group of producers that are located in one kind of like micro region. And instead of, one producer on their own trying to get export power, they'll combine
So they've
crops.
had very similar, like,
Altitude,
weather.
exactly.
Although nature factors are the same. So maybe a little different of a bean or whatever, but it's all in the same profile.
Totally.
Gotcha.
And so you have examples like that. And then you have examples like, that row right there where those are all not only like single producer lots, but often like the 2 on the right.
Yep.
Those are actually the 3 on the right are all single variety lots.
Plum, blackberry, orange.
Yeah.
Orange
So that's
crushed
the
tangerines,
flavor
milk chocolate.
notes.
All
It doesn't necessarily mean those things are in it. It's the flavor notes.
Correct. However, the one on the left, which is this bad boy that I brought you all,
Nice.
is a really, I should riff on that.
Yeah.
This is some like,
Please do.
This is some new shit. So in the special,
This is what's in that pot?
View options.
yes, essentially. So that coffee so Juan Puerta isn't a producer, but he's what's called a processor. And so he's a food science engineer and is a genius when it comes to fermentation and creating flavor. It's the gentleman on the right there.
Nice.
So what this is, and so what's in this pot? So let me serve up some of this.
Yeah.
This is
here
not.
we go. Now
this,
we're talking.
This is not that coffee. However, it is a similar process. So this is what's called a co-fermentation.
Still smoking. That means
right.
we're good.
It's hot.
You're so good,
Yep.
We've been here for like 2 hours. How's it still hot?
dude. These Techniform crafts.
He's got the right gear, man.
It's a real deal. All right, so co-fermentation. This is something that kind of debuted, I would say, like 3 years ago in like the specialty world, and it essentially, you mind sliding that to John?
I can, absolutely.
Essentially, like all coffee's fermented. The type of fermentation, whether it's aerobic or anaerobic, right, with or without oxygen, if it's a wet fermentation or if it's dry fermented, there are different riffs on how a coffee's fermented, and based on how that coffee's fermented, different microbes will flourish or not. Which
that will change the flavor profile.
Exactly, will change the flavor profile. Recently, again, like in the last 3 years or so, this process called co-fermentation started kind of coming about. And so the coffee that's in front of you was Enjoy's first co-ferment release. This is a strawberry co-ferment. And so during the fermentation process, freeze-dried strawberries are actually added to the fermentation tank. This is a very
So this is the same concept as dry hopping a beer.
100%. It's in the coffee world right now. It is extremely a touchy topic because people are like, wait, is this flavored coffee? I would argue yes.
Yeah.
However, I think one cool thing is,
But it's not dumping a flavor
a chemical
chemical
spray.
on the beans.
It's happening.
Yeah, it's not syrup flavored coffee.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's happening at origin with real fruit or other product or, other flowers or herbs or whatever it
You're
might
not
be.
double pumping strawberry, caramel, macchiato, some other
Exactly.
bullshit.
And the cool thing is all that economy stays on the farm level, right? Now, the equipment to do this is really extensive. And so it's interesting. It's a really touchy topic. I'm going to be leading a discussion about it at this big festival in May called the Northeastern Coffee Festival in New Hampshire. And I'm moderating a discussion featuring a producer, importer, roaster, and myself.
And a bunch of angry coffee consumers that think this is bullshit.
I mean, either that
and some person who went there for tea who was all fucked up. He's like,
wait, what is this? So I got sidetracked though. So osmotic dehydration is not only could be a really rad band name.
Yes, for sure.
Something
Be a great band.
That's
name.
an awesome band name.
But it's a crazy riff on this notion of co-fermentation. And so this, right, the one that we have in front of us,
This one is a co-fermented.
this is a
Okay.
kind of general co-fermentation. And so you can tell on the nose too, strawberry jumps out. There's a somewhat acidic quality to it that I think some could interpret slightly vinegary.
Yeah, I get that.
But as it cools, especially, damn, that is piping hot. Yeah, let's let this sit for 5 minutes and then revisit. Because
Mark's already finished.
So it's
this.
really funny. Yeah.
No, it's fine. I gotta sit.
So when you say strawberry note, so when I go to sip it, I want to, not that I want it, but I expect a sweet, but I don't get that.
Wait for it to cool a bit.
Okay. Not that
that
I'm looking for. I'm just saying that that's what.
that's gonna
That's a big misconception, I think, with a flavor note in general, because a lot of the time, as with craft beer, you like IPAs, and there'll be note references. You'll get a papaya on the nose, and you'll get a pineapple citrus flavor. And it's not really that it's infused. In that case, it's not even infused with those things at all. It's that the hop profile has those qualities.
And that's fair. It just
yeah. So this big time,
But this is actually strawberry.
this is actually strawberry in here. So there is an infusion happening during that fermentation process. That process of this osmotic dehydration is
So this is slightly different than what this is.
Yeah, in my opinion, this is what we're looking at. The osmotic dehydration is slightly more refined. This is in my opinion, beta, right? What Juan Puerta figured out is instead of kind of just dumping raw organic material in with the coffee while it's fermenting, he again he's a food science engineer, and so he created this process in which he creates a hypertonic solution, which I had to look up what that meant. But what that means is there's more solute available.
I know what it means, but can you tell the listeners? Yeah.
of course you do, John.
Yeah.
So he has a glucose solution, right? So you could think of it as in most simple terms, some sort of simple syrup-esque solution. He is then adding, in this case, rose and lychee into that solution, and that solution with those organic compounds in there creates what's called a hypertonic exchange, which is an osmosis gradient. And so the qualities of and flavors of the rose and the lychee seep into that glucose solution.
You're basically pulling the water through the flavors,
Correct.
and then adding it to the coffee.
And so the really interesting thing is you, in my opinion at least, you get a much more like refined representation of those flavors, whereas some, not this one, but some general co-ferments can be a bit muddled.
Yeah.
Like it could be like not a ripe strawberry, but a kind of like old strawberry. You know what I mean? Like not necessarily the cleanest representation of those flavors.
And if you might not have as refined as a palate that you do, it might be difficult for people to identify those notes, I would imagine.
Totally. And some of them go really like, in my opinion, too far, where they get like very acidic and brothy, and like it's hard to kind of control that fermentation when you're adding such like an accelerant like fruit to it.
As you're right though, as this cools,
Dude,
it's changing
gonna,
drastically.
It's going to get wild.
I'll let you know when mine cools.
How I feel about coffee, and I feel like this is I feel like, there's people who just drink the shit coffee every fucking day.
Yep.
And we know where those places
I'm that
are.
guy.
Yeah, I know
That's
you're
what I
that
do
guy.
every day.
That's
all I
fine.
do. Yeah.
I make my own home. It's really shit coffee. It's not great, but
Yep.
it's fine. But like, it takes a while to get up to certain. Like, someone could take a sip of this and be like, absolutely not.
100%.
I want my dunks.
Yep.
And I was in New Hampshire at a house, had a coffee machine, and they get it imported from Italy. Their coffee.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the most powerful cups of coffee I've ever drank.
But was
flavor-wise.
it? I was gonna say, was it caffeine powerful though?
No, it was flavor.
Okay, so I
Yeah,
was
not
gonna say
even
the
so
same
much.
thing.
I didn't even get to that point where I'm like, well, I need sugar, and I haven't put sugar in coffee in fucking 10 years.
Sure. Yep.
And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, I am not here. I'm not even close to here
Yeah,
to ever
yeah.
drink this again.
So I have a very similar story where I'll drink Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee every day. That's what I drink.
Yep.
I'm not waking up in the morning. I don't want to sit down and.
Oh, wow.
I gotta get out the door. I want something, and I'm off. I was working with a guy, and I've worked with this man for many, many years. A good friend, and we were very close to his home at the job we were working at. And we had a few minutes, so he's like, "I'll come by my house. We'll have coffee." And he pulled out like a machine. He's doing all this stuff, and he poured me a very small cup of coffee, and it was absolutely delicious. And I very much enjoyed it.
So if you have
But
good
that's not-
coffee, you
enjoy
don't
it.
dislike it.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. It was absolutely delicious. I enjoyed every sip, and then we went on with my day. And the next day, I got a Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need good coffee every day, but
Yeah,
I
like John said
I
at the beginning.
appreciate it.
No one wants to seek it out at 6 a.m.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
That's it.
So,
But I think that's the beauty of a product like
Right.
yours. If you get into the rhythm of like, if you grind your own beans, which isn't that big of a deal. Like,
I do it.
yeah, we grind our own, and
I'm the only one who drinks coffee in the house. So like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm the only one.
Well, it's only.
Oh, I am too.
See, it's only Cassie and I. I don't grind every day, but I have like a Tupperware, like soup thing from like a like a soup restaurant, like from a ramen place, and I grind it, and I'll fill that like 3/4 of the way up, and then that's what we make our coffee out of. But yeah, it's is that good, bad? I don't know. Probably not the best, and we drink Starbucks like 90% of the time.
Right.
But when we have better coffee, we enjoy it.
Yeah, it's funny. My goal with Enjoy, like, clearly I'm as far down the rabbit hole, like, nearly as
Yeah.
I can get, right? But, like, I don't expect the average person necessarily to be like, oh, fuck, he's got a new osmotic dehydration, like, sick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
the snake guy
like-
that was on the show last week, though,
Yeah.
is like a coffee guy.
Oh,
so I
sick.
was like, you need to listen next week because, like, we have the coffee guy.
Yeah, no, and like I want to have stuff for that person, but
Yeah.
also like kind of like it's kind of like the call out on the back of the bag. Like I want
Yeah, let's read that.
it says, "Yo,
I love the inflection. I love it.
this bag you're holding right here is the key to super good coffee made easy. So kick back and enjoy." And that really like
That's the ethos of the brand.
that's the ethos. Like I want to meet people where they're at. The way I roast and kind of like the equipment that I have makes coffees like this a little bit easier to brew at home because there's plenty of specialty roasters out there that are roasting quite light like this, but aren't really considering solubility and what that means for the consumer in terms of actually being able to extract what we need to extract to make the coffee sweet, right?
Yeah, they're not all using a Chemex.
No,
Or something.
nor do they
Yeah.
Also,
have
yeah,
a
because
burr
you're at
grinder
Christmas,
or-
right? And you've got
Yeah.
some relatives over, and you want to have everyone a nice cup of coffee, right? And that's fine. And You got a bean where you can put it in. You can brew a cup of coffee, or brew a pot of coffee, however it works, and you don't have to wait 4.5 hours to steep and move and this and that. And
so I guess
whatever.
that's actually a good callback to the last time you were on. I was a K-cup guy.
Oh, that's
we
right.
have moved on from that, and
That's right.
we brew a pot of coffee every day now.
Let's go, John.
Yeah.
I forgot
So
that.
we're basically the same now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the fucking Keurigs.
Why would
man.
you let me take a sip before
I
you said that?
I love watching it
almost
just filter
wore
through,
that.
and then all of a sudden it's clear again halfway through, and I'm like,
Yep.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude. No, terrible.
Then some people are like, you just do it again. I'm like, what?
Yeah, no.
No,
Fucking
never
alright.
do that.
Please kill me.
Never double brew.
step out.
Even at Dunkin' Donuts, you don't want to double brew.
No.
People did it. I seen
I
it.
remember they used to pay more for that, or they used to pretend to, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, good old Duncan.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you are bringing these craft coffees to the consumer in a way that they can produce them and extract them to a drinkable state at home and enjoy these flavor profiles that you're not going to find in traditional coffee.
Yeah, yeah. And again, like I'm, by no means am I unique in like, let's say the coffees that I'm sourcing, right? Like these anyone who's a specialty roaster, right, technically has access to bring these coffees in.
Yep.
Granted, I have like connections that have, been grown over
Yeah,
years,
you've been in the business for a decade
yeah,
now.
yeah,
you know?
which is super helpful. But I feel like a lot of specialty coffee is designed for that like 1% customer who either is in the industry or works at a cafe and is grinding their coffee on a $3,000 grinder.
Yep.
And you know what I mean? It's I think the industry kind of took a misstep in that and kind of chasing this like really kind of like esoteric
Ultra exclusivity.
exactly like state
Yeah.
and really that's not mass appealing nor
Wait,
is it
you've heard of that coffee? I don't like it anymore.
yeah
Yeah.
no
It's like the music scene, Oh, you've heard of that band? Yeah.
uh-huh
Yeah.
it 100% is.
So in this photo right here, what exactly are we looking at in those containers?
Yeah, we're so those are drying beds, and so that's coffee cherry on the drying beds, drying before it enters its fermentation state.
Because if you listened to the last episode, you would know that the coffee bean is actually the seed of a fruit.
Yep.
And that is
Right.
the coffee cherry.
Yep. And so kind of
Right.
you have
Remember
three
that
kind of
now.
like macro processes. You have the wash process, which is when we think of the coffee that we grew up drinking, that was wash coffee. It's important to note though that that's not the original form of coffee processing, nor is it the original flavor profile of kind of like coffee as a whole.
It just kind of became the efficient industry standard.
100%.
Yeah.
The more like commercial accessible processing method. And so either the wash process, those cherries are plucked off the tree, the fruit's immediately depulped. It then kind of goes through a fermentation process and then dries in this papery shell that's around the seed called parchment.
Yep.
On the other end of the spectrum, you have the natural process, which is the original form of processing, which hails from Ethiopia. Cherries are picked off the tree, and the fruit is set out to dry, the seed is set out to dry in fruit. So that all that pulp, all the fruit is still around the seed.
Super concentrated.
Well, what you end up getting are these kind of like natural fruit notes.
You're going to get the fruit notes from the fruit into the bean.
Into the seed. And so clearly for that process, you need the right climate, right? Because there's a lot of moisture. Mold can develop, over fermentation can occur if the air is too
hot and
humid.
dry is what you're looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, at this point, there are, over 10, kind of subdivisions of processing. But what we're seeing right here is the natural process.
And those, how long does it stay like that?
Depends on weather.
Just in the open like that?
Yep.
Never gets covered or anything like that?
It'll get covered if rain's rolling in.
Okay.
And producer to producer, farm to farm. Some will have like parabolic dryers, which are like, kind of like greenhouse type environments for the coffee to dry in. Some have mechanical dryers where it's just like a slow churning hot
Big drum
oven.
or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
And some it's just open air all the time. It's really farm to farm.
Yeah. Wow.
That's cool. So this particular roast that you have on the website now is the kind of next iteration of this style of process.
Yeah, I would say it's as kind of cutting edge as it gets in the industry right now. That coffee is loud.
Lychee's a very, I don't know if I'll say strong. It's a very significant flavor, I'll say.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's one of those you like it or you don't things, right?
I would say so. It's the way that coffee presents is like incredibly like pointed and sweet. It's really bright and acidic. So for folks who like light roasts or kind of, and when I say acidic, I don't mean like pH, but perceived brightness is how you could think about it. It's just a loud coffee, but it's one that is like undeniably different than anything anyone has tasted, which is really cool. And Juan Puerta is kind of like, and Sen's Coffee, his company is kind of championing this. And yeah, people were raving about it, so it got a really good reception, which is cool.
That's awesome. Now I know when you started, you were doing kind of like a monthly thing. Like, can people sign up still, or is it like a buy per bag situation now?
Yeah, good question. So I didn't want to like for those who were like, I had many folks who were like buying every month's drop. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to like, if that was working for people, I didn't want to lose that. So I was like riffing with my wife, who helped me kind of like with the website and kind of.
Yeah, the website looks great.
She's like the marketing mind behind it all. Thank you, Charisse. She figured out how to get like a subscription program like integrated with our Shopify.
Yeah.
So I have, the monthly drop now is a subscription service. So you can get a monthly drop single bag, or you get a monthly drop kilo.
It's very similar to the Bucks for the Boys subscription.
Yep. So those are available, and the way that operates, it's kind of like Roaster's Choice. So like, if I have a new coffee coming in, which I try to at least release one coffee a month. Yeah. Sometimes there's more, but either the newest thing or something I'm just really hyped on will be the coffee that's like featured in that subscription model. Yep. And then all the other coffees and all the coffees are kind of like just available as they're available. And then when they're gone, they're gone, which is kind of like the beauty of like an agricultural product. It's here when it's here.
Yeah.
How do you think like once a month I got to come up with something new?
So I mean, I'm like,
you're that far out?
Yeah.
Pretty far
Good
ahead.
for you.
I probably have 18 coffees contracted.
Oh, wow.
That are unreleased.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And that's obviously like a delicate balance. You don't want to get too long on your contracted lots because of aging and things like that. But I think that's just something. It's kind of my brain's always on, and I just am really familiar with that seasonality piece where it's like, all right, cool. Like I need to be looking at Ecuador's now, or all right, it's Kenya time.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be like under pressure, like, oh god, I have nothing. I have nothing for next month. What do I do? Yeah.
In the early stages of that drop model, it was like, wait, it's mid-month already.
Yeah, like I need to come up with something.
I need to
go.
I should have started roasting it 3 weeks ago. Oh no, yeah.
So now, if say you do want one of these new blends or a new single origin thing for the month, and it sells really well, are you able to say like, hey, I want to do that again, I want to get more of that?
Sometimes.
Is it accessible? So it depends, case by case.
It depends on
Just going with the seasonality, if there's anything left, really.
Yeah, that it's like, and my relationship with whatever importer I'm sourcing that coffee from, like Juliana's Coffee and Marcelli, so the bottom right red and then the orange one there are from my bud Joel Eastlick of Yellow Rooster Coffee.
Okay.
And he sent me pre-shipment samples, right? Like before they landed in the States.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, sick. I'm interested. Let me get, X bags of this, X bags of that.
Yep.
They landed. I got the coffees in, started roasting them. And, for me, it's an interesting, kind of exercise where it's like, I have to balance freshness of offerings for like my consumer base or like direct to consumer base,
but also for your wholesale.
Exactly, while also having something like in wholesale some like variety.
Are there certain things where it's like, I'm not going to wholesale this, like if you want this particular specialty blend, just buy direct from me?
Kind of like the Immaculata Fellows, the Gesha one, because of the price point.
Yep.
That was one that I certainly I let wholesale know, like, hey, this is available, but it's such an expensive coffee.
Yeah.
That, I kind of just like, and I bought a small quantity of it. It was kind of like a test to see, do I have the, customer base, is my customer base
So
interested in
plum
something like this?
blackberry orange sounds delightful.
That coffee's in. So Gesha's like that variety is one of the most. I don't know. It's like the
Dark
crown.
berry, blackberry, multiberry. Oh God,
It's
I
like
love
the
it all.
crown jewel of coffee. It's a really low yielding variety in terms of like cherries per plant. But the cherries that are produced have an extremely unique and complex flavor profile. It's a variety you see kind of like on the like coffee championship stages year on year.
Wow. Now, what region is that from?
That coffee's from Colombia, but
Okay.
Gesha kind of had its resurgence from Panama.
Okay.
But yeah, that coffee is. But that's an example of one that kind of was designed for direct to consumers more so than wholesale.
Yep.
But you know, going back to the Marcelli and Juliana, like those coffees, wholesale jumped on each of them and we're loving them. And so I was able to go back to Joel and be like, "Yo, you have any more bags available? You know,
Yeah.
that are landed?" And he's like, "Yeah. What do you need?" You know, and
That's
so
sweet.
there are instances certainly when I do that, but there are also instances where it's like, "Yo, you have 5 more bags of this?" And they're like, "Nope, gone."
Sure
and,
don't.
And
Yeah.
then it's better luck next year.
Yep. Man, that's lovely. And I'll drink black coffee, but I'm not a black coffee drinker.
Yeah,
Oh, it's all
I was going to say this
all I
temperature
drink
right
too.
now.
Yeah.
That's all
black
you-
coffee. This didn't need a sugar. Like I didn't need sugar
Yeah.
in this. This was perfect. But I'll add a sugar. You know,
Yep.
if I'm at a diner or whatever and I get hot coffee, I'll chuck a sugar in it. But
Yep.
This is great.
yeah, this
The
is delicious.
crazy thing too is what we're drinking, and this is kind of like a random aside if I can. So this coffee was roasted. Let me think. About 2 months ago,
Oh wow.
Wow.
which is in conventional coffee world a very long time ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
People
really?
are like, oh, I want to get my coffee. You know, like I remember when I got into the industry in like 08, 09, it was like, all right, like, you know, get it within a week. Like drink it within a week, espresso within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the rule of thumb, and we all lived by it. We all preached it. You know, fast forward, not only are there like more studies done on like coffee aging, quick aside from my aside,
Yeah.
I'm keeping track.
Yeah.
We're
as
in
long
the
as somebody
inception-
is.
We're in inception range
Inception,
right now. Yeah.
Dark roasts, for any dark roast drinkers out there,
Yep.
those age much quicker than light roasts do. The oils that are seen on the outside of dark roasts go
It's
rancid.
a more oily bean usually.
More oily bean, more porous, and those oils go rancid when exposed to light and oxygen. So if you have a dark roast, still try to drink that within 2 weeks. But
Okay.
if you have a light roast, don't sweat it. But getting back to this, so when I kind of opened my roastery after like a really arduous build out, I got this like new piece of equipment.
I want to pin that. I want to have a talk about the build out in the
Oh, sick.
equipment.
Absolutely.
Sick. The equipment I'm kind of like leaning into here.
Okay, perfect.
So I got, as you guys know, I had a roaster stored here.
Oh yeah.
for a
I thought it
minute.
was a human body getting rid of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, when did we get the body fucking burner? What is
Yeah,
going
it's like
on
it's
over
like
here?
it's like a giant meat grinder.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got that from like Oregon or something, right?
Denver. Yeah.
Denver. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got that from Huck Roasters out in Denver.
Yep.
And for all purposes, like that is still probably like my dream machine.
Yeah.
It's
So
like-
that was like you explained like that is like this, vintage
Yep.
roaster that you can't get anymore. And
Yeah. There's 3 in the country.
Wow.
Metric in Chicago has one. George Howell up in Boston has one, and I have the other one right now,
Wow.
which is sick. It's yeah.
And all you nerds know that.
All you nerds. It's rad, right? And so
Yeah.
I got that fully anticipating that being.
Did you talk to the other 2 people that have them? Like, hey, I have one too.
Yeah. Well, on the drive back from Denver. Oh fuck, that was a story.
Did you call them like?
I
listen up?
basically I was like
I just
"Yo."
wanted to let you guys know that you're not the only one that has this now.
Well, I hit up Xavier of Metric and I was like, yo, dude, like we're gonna be like coming through I-90.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let's stop by. But big but that's a whole nother podcast was to drive back. We were in a budget.
We got
truck.
time.
Me and my bud we were in a budget truck.
Yeah.
And we were way over the weight limit of the truck. We had no give in the suspension. And when we hit Omaha, the check engine light of the truck went on.
No.
But we had to just keep going because I illegally bolted all of the equipment into the bed of the truck.
He's like bolted it through the deck of the truck.
Yep. And
Yeah.
so we couldn't, and like any tilt, like if I called a pickup truck or like a tow truck, my life savings essentially would like fucking
be
Yeah,
wasted.
crash.
it couldn't be
Wow.
towed. Yeah.
It was just keep going. And
Yeah.
so we ended up just like me and my friend Victor. Victor, thank you if you're listening.
Just power through.
Powered through. And when it rained in the cab. It was like tornado season. We were like in between tornadoes, having family like text us, be like, yo, like what mile mark are you at?
Yeah.
It was a scene. But we made it. Anyway.
That's wild.
It's a sick machine, right? But, big but. October. So I got that machine in April of 23. In October of 23, I went down to New York for New York Coffee Festival, kind of the first festival with me kind of like representing myself, like representing Enjoy. I'd been to countless conferences or whatever over the years, but always for other businesses. And so this was like, it was a big one, right?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, like, seeing many familiar faces, and it's like, this is my shit. I got invited to a tasting event at this shop called Drip in Soho, and they were featuring this roaster out of Rotterdam, the Netherlands, called Manhattan Coffee Roasters. And I was handed an espresso from them, from Paulo, who's the one of the production roasters there. And I was handed an espresso in a paper cup, and I'm specifying that for a reason. The reason is like it wasn't this beautiful, mug with gorgeous sparkling water that was like influencing my perception of what I was sipping. Right, I was handed a paper cup, and if anyone knows me out there, I hate espresso in paper cups.
Okay.
Just for what that's worth, I like a nice ceramic, right?
Yeah.
That's pulling some of the heat out of the shot,
Yep.
up the sweetness. Anyway, paper cup, brought the coffee to my nose, was immediately like eyebrows went up, and then took a sip and put the cup down kind of in disbelief, right? And on that, again, like we've talked about how many coffees I've graded. I can seldomly drink a coffee and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm usually thinking about how would I have roasted this differently, or how is this brewed?
Yeah, you're
are there-
trying-
So you enjoying a cup of coffee is very hard to do.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, you don't enjoy a cup of coffee.
What a just an ironic.
You're trying to reverse engineer.
Such a twist.
You're reverse engineering every sip that you
Every
have.
sip always. Right?
Yeah, like I
it's-
wonder if I had this a little hotter or a little cooler. and
exactly.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
Like
yeah,
John
yeah.
going to a show and judging every Mark II he sees.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
right, 100%. And so, like, I had the taste. I like looked at the barista again, who's their production roaster, and I was like, dude, what the fuck
Wait,
is
what?
going
What
on?
is this?
And he's like, he kind of laughed because he knew he was serving fire.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? Like, go taste the other coffees in the flight. Like, there's someone behind you. Let me serve them and then circle back around and I'll explain.
Yeah.
So I taste, 6 other coffees that were made by Pour Over. And again, like just really taken aback. Not necessarily of quality, but of flavor accessibility is how I'll phrase it. So I'm yes, all the coffees slapped. But quality aside, there was a cup attribute that I hadn't really experienced before. And it was the best way I could describe it is flavors were just really spread out and accessible. It's like putting ice cube in a scotch.
You
right?
could identify the
Just
flavors.
everything was like, it's like, oh, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Circle back around. I'm like, dude, what are you all doing?
Yeah. What
Because
is
as far
this?
as I knew, they were roasting on a Probat UG15, the little brother of the machine I bought,
Okay.
right? And I was like, man, how are you guys like I know what Probats do, but I've
Yeah.
never tasted this. And he's like, oh, we got this like new piece of tech. It's called a Typhoon. Have you heard of it? And I was like, fuck, no.
Yeah. Turns out I'm buying a Typhoon.
Damn it.
Literally, yes.
Hey, honey. So
Fast forward 2.5 months,
Yeah.
and I bought a second production roaster.
And it's the roaster is a Typhoon.
Yes,
Okay.
it's so now.
So it's not an additional piece of equipment with a roaster. It is a roaster.
It is a roaster. Typhoon is a brand of roaster from Prague.
Okay.
Completely different tech, brand new tech, and it's insane. It's a fully convective system. So instead of kind of like the human body disposal that you saw,
Yeah.
which is right a big cast iron drum that's churning,
That's churning with a heat source under it.
heat source under it with a beam mass inside, right? That's hitting the metal and touching each other, which is conductive heat transfer, and
Yep.
then kind of getting thrown into the air.
Yeah.
Convective, and then back down, conduction, convective, conduction, right, et cetera.
Yeah.
This system is fully convective, and so it's called a fluid bed roaster. And so the coffee, you could think of it in the most simple terms as like a really, 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 really expensive popcorn popper.
Okay. So
You
the
know,
coffee's
like-
not rotating.
Nope, it's just live, floating in the air at all times.
How?
Can you get Instagram up on there?
Yeah.
If you go to my Instagram, I'll show you.
Okay.
The short answer is just insane airflow.
Okay.
That can lift up the bean mass. Air roasters like this aren't new tech, but what is new is the ability. All right, scroll down a bit, down a bit, down a bit, down a bit.
That
Yeah, that's it.
I had a feeling this was it.
Looks like baked beans.
It does,
Looks like
yeah.
a Boston baked bean pot.
So the coffee is never really sitting still for any period of time. You have access to, in terms of like
It's a very even cooking process.
massive, way more even and way more efficient roasting process. And so instead
That's
of-
giving you a very consistent flavor profile across every single
Like
bean
think about
is
like
gonna
cooking
be
meat
the
in a
same.
pan, right? So you cook
Yeah.
the meat and you let it sit there and it burns on the bottom. You flip it over and then it's raw on the top. And
Yeah.
it burns on the
well,
bottom.
the thing that blew
With
my
that,
the thing that blew my mind about it, right? It's like I'd been roasting on a drum roaster for over a decade before I got this thing, right? And I thought, but like I know how to roast on those pieces of equipment without creating what's called roast defect, right? So if your drum is too hot and you charge the beans into that drum, they could singe, right? Like if there are hot spots in it, if you're not heating up appropriately, there's a lot of care that goes into like roasting on a drum. I could roast defect free with my eyes closed most of the time. But big but after I started tasting coffees off of this system, what I'm starting to put together.
wait a minute.
Yeah, what I'm starting to put together is that there was like this unspoken flavor that I'm calling flavor of conduction.
Yeah.
I'm still like working this, right? But like there is a clarity to be had on coffees off of this system.
And it's like the flavor's in there. It's just how you get it out.
Right. And I think the industry, I think roasters by far, like or overall, we've always associated this kind of like in between flavor, call it coffee flavor, call it like the brown flavor,
Yeah.
as just part of coffee.
Yeah.
Period. No matter what coffee it is.
Everyone's trying to get away from that.
It's like, oh, let's accentuate the lemon note.
One
let's
way or the
accentuate
other.
this
Sure.
note, right? But what I'm noticing with coffees off the system is that kind of middle flavor in between everything is gone.
Yeah.
And that's
Is that what this was made on?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's what creates that space in terms of the flavor profile.
It eliminates the neutral coffee flavor.
Yeah, and like that is 1,000% not like scientifically proven. It's just what I've kind of like observed and noticed over time, and roasting coffees that I had roasted on a drum machine that are now being roasted on the Typhoon.
What's the temperature at here?
Right there, you're probably at like 280. Most of my coffees on this system are dropping, around 390 to 400. The other crazy thing about this system is how fast roasting is.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, what's the time?
So I roast coffee in about 4.5 minutes.
Wow, really?
Whereas on a drum machine,
How much coffee at once?
that's 5 kilos. So 8.8 pounds.
Wow.
Or
4
kilos
minutes.
in there. Yeah. And whereas on a drum machine, it's about 11 minutes.
I say it's not like you don't want to call it a microwave because it's not really a microwave, but it's kind of like the microwave effect, right? So like
100.
it cooks that much faster than you put it in a regular stove.
It's just convection's way more efficient heat transfer than conduction is. So yeah.
Also, I can
so-
watch that. I can watch that like I was watching a fire.
Yeah.
Like I can
I
drink a
have been.
whiskey right now and
Yeah.
watch that. Just like it just looks like a very calming fire in the background.
It was like one of those things where the decision to invest in that was mainly one due to size, right? That roaster that I have here, which I still have, the UG,
It's quite large.
it's big, and that's I'm yielding 44 pounds per roast.
Wow.
Right, starting out, that's a lot of excess. I didn't know how light I could go with that, how that roaster was tuned.
Yeah.
There would also be quite a lot of cost in getting that up and running, just because of how old and nuanced it is.
Do you have that up and running now or no?
No, it's
Yeah.
I'm working on that now though.
Yep.
Because that roaster still certainly has a place.
Yeah, that's going to develop a quality
That's
different
gonna be
than
your
this.
like little batch, like your experimental batch type coffee.
Like all of my kind of everything I currently have in terms of single origins are going to be living on the Typhoon.
Yeah.
But getting those kind of like really sweet brown notes,
Yep.
that I think most coffee drinkers like know and love, that can happen on the Probat.
Yeah.
And if I can take wear and tear off this machine, I can increase throughput.
Yeah.
Private label
Yeah, like
accounts.
you could do, your like flagship 5 points brew blend on that other machine. No problem. Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the goals for 2025 is getting that machine up and running.
Yep. Nice. So tell us about the other things about the space. This is actually a funny comment from Phil I want to read here quick. So Phil Can.
Phil, thank
in
you
the
for
chat.
the stickers, homie.
Phil Can, if you need stickers done, hit up Phil. He does a ton of stickers for freelance customers of mine. Oftentimes customers that don't know that he's doing them.
Oftentimes my brother will call him with a funny idea and he'll just make stickers for
Yeah.
fun.
Dude, Phil, you're the man. Like, I'll email Phil. He does all these tape labels for me.
Yeah.
I'll email him, and it's like that night.
Oh yeah.
Bro,
They're out.
so
It's
like,
unbelievable.
Phil, you're a wizard.
so
man.
fast.
I've been working with this guy in Seekonk launching a brand for a line of paint that he's doing, and Phil did a ton of stuff for it. We did, he did some like signage, and we did some like display sign things and labels for like his sandpaper boxes, a bunch of auto body supplies. So Phil's the best. So shouts to Phil.
Shout out, Phil.
But yeah, so that's a good point though. Want to know what's awesome about coffee? Whether you love it, hate it, like crappy or expressive, iced or hot, it's kind of universal. Everybody has some sort of relationship with it, which is very
You're not
true.
wrong, Phil. That's a really good point.
Absolutely.
Yep, very true. Good way to look at it. TDs, how much of a challenge is it to get something cost effective within reason? Because I can imagine it would be tough to get people to buy a $20 cup of coffee. Well, I mean, you're not selling a $20 cup of coffee. I mean, the bags that you're selling are your more expensive bags, like $29. And how much
That
like
yields a fair.
yeah,
It's a 10-ounce bag. Figure you'll get 20 cups out of it.
yeah. So you're getting 20 cups out of a $29 bag.
Yeah. That said, TDs, there are certainly cafes, that are serving $20 pour overs.
Yeah,
I don't think I think, if you walk into a cafe,
There's a space for that.
yeah, and I
there's
think
a space for
I
what
think
you're doing.
if you
Yeah.
have the $20, like saying that you bought a $20 cup of coffee, hopefully it's executed well, and it is nuanced. And I think 100% some coffee needs to be that expensive, which is another tangent that we won't go into.
yeah.
But yeah, I think a really great cup of coffee can 100% be under $4.
Yep. And I think, you have to factor in paying for environment and staffing. If you're in a super high-end cafe that has amazing equipment and, a nice mug and it's an enjoyable
There's
place to
experience
sit
as well.
and drink
Like
your
if you're
coffee.
gonna-
Yeah,
You're paying a little more for the ambiance as well as
exactly.
the coffee.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, the space.
Yeah.
I know you were looking for a space for quite a while.
Yeah.
And you wanted it to be Providence centric.
Yep.
And a big thing was it needed to have the utilities that you needed. You needed gas, right? Natural gas.
Yeah, which ironically, that's the other thing I didn't talk about. That's a fully electric roaster.
What?
Which is
So-
which is
After all the time of looking for a gas
hilarious.
bed- oh my god.
yeah. So roasteries are like pretty nuanced. In terms
So
of,
this is changing the game.
100%. It's the most it's the smallest carbon footprint roaster on the planet right now.
Wow.
For like pound for pound, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So did you get a space with gas?
Yes. Yeah. So I really was struggling. I think it was
You were looking for like a year, it seems like, right?
almost, yeah.
Yeah.
So I got back with the Probat in April of 23, and I technically signed the lease of my space February of 24. But I was looking essentially every day
Yeah.
from when that machine got here. Yeah, I where I landed isn't really what I was looking for. I landed in like an old mill building in Oneyville.
Yep.
And I've seen just many roasters nationally start in mills, and then they inevitably always move out. So I was like, oh, why would I start?
Why would I
somewhere
start in a mill?
if it doesn't work, right?
Yeah. What do you think they're moving out for? What's the space or?
I think space. I think perhaps like something more like customer facing, where you're.
Are
not
you
like,
looking to have a customer facing space?
I am.
Okay.
I am. Yeah.
Also, I think a lot of the mills, and not to cut you off, I'm sorry, but
No.
a lot of the mills, because I work in the construction industry, a lot of the mills start where they will rent the lower spaces to commercial buildings just to build a little bit of revenue, and then they kick everyone out and make it into apartments.
Apartment building. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's just what they're doing.
Yep.
So,
That's real.
so like long game, a customer facing cafe. Would that be the idea?
Yeah.
Or just a retail space to sell?
I no, a cafe is kind of like what I see as like phase 2 of the business.
Okay.
Which is not something I'm like rushing into.
Not retail stuff.
Yeah, but it's like
that type of retail, like the customer
exactly. It's kind of it's like it's a lot.
barista. You know, hire all that nonsense. Yeah.
Yep, and it's like it's something that I miss. You know what I mean? It's something I did for a large part of my career.
Yeah.
And I
And I think that's a part of it.
yeah, I like talking to people. I like kind of being able to be that final step. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, of the supply chain and kind of like holding that, every hand before up a bit.
Yeah.
But it's a big undertaking, and so I want to get this piece of the business like fully
Get it dialed first.
dialed,
Yeah.
exactly, and then we'll look that way. But
You don't want to do it too soon and, have production slip so you can force the cafe out.
exactly, it's I'm very grateful for kind of all my experience, but some of it has shown like, you learn a lot, with what to do, what not to do, things that worked, things that maybe didn't work for things along the line.
So the space you have now is strictly commercial for roasting. It's not something that could be a customer-facing space necessarily.
It's kind of like, it's interesting. It's like an in-between. Like I'm starting to do events out of it.
Oh, cool.
I've about like 1,900 square feet in this mill called the Cathedral Art Mill, like right on Manton Ave in Oneyville.
Yep.
Like right off Oneyville Square.
Where that is.
Yeah, like right on.
I know
like
exactly where that
my
Is it near system?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's out my window.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
I look at System.
Nice.
I was going to say, yeah, my window's like on the Woonasquatucket River,
Okay.
which is also just like kind of sick to
Yeah, that's
have,
cool.
have a water view. But yeah, so I'm its main purpose is production.
Yep.
Green storage, roastery, QC, packing and fulfilling orders. But
Yep.
I have this like huge, big main space that is really conducive to events. I've had 2 events so far, and 2025 I'm trying to just have it be a little bit more active. Whether it's I'm doing one with La Lupita coming up in a couple weeks where we're doing Oaxacan tamales and a Oaxacan specialty coffee pairing.
Oh, sweet.
Yep, that's the space right there. So that's kind of like the main room. Those 2 tables in the middle there, during production, service production, but also are really great cupping tables, which is like it's like a form of coffee tasting where you have like 30 bowls on a table and you're kind of like walking around with a spoon,
Oh, nice.
like getting A, B, C, D, like just
Yeah.
getting that full kind of diversity of flavor one after the next. That little door opening on the left there is the roasting room.
In here.
Yep. And
Yep.
then the one on the right is kind of the packing room and wet room.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the space.
Nice.
But when I first walked up there, none of the walls really existed.
Okay.
The owner of Cathedral Art, I think he's 3rd generation because the building and business started in 1921.
Yep.
The top, kind of like the wing of the mill that I'm in, was a part of the factory that's now been exported to El Salvador. And it was just kind of like random storage. Like the mill and that building is still active, or that original business is still active.
Yep.
But this kind of wing was just kind of vacant. And so he's like, yeah, like, maybe if we make a wall here, this will work. And I'm there like, yeah, dude, like,
Yeah, dude, maybe
we
we
can
can
I think
push
I
it
could see
30
it.
feet that way and give me some extra space.
We'll do that. Yeah.
Also, I think Blake and I bought a set of wheels there in like 1999.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
There's we went to a sketchy place in Onlyville where we walked upstairs and Blake brought me because he was like, I'm going to buy wheels. You need to come.
Dude, that's amazing.
He's like, I got like $500 in my hand and I don't want to go get robbed. So we went up there and I was like, I don't know what you thought, but if we're going to get robbed, we're all getting robbed.
We're all getting robbed here.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing anything for you at this point.
So this is the Typhoon.
That's the Typhoon. Yep.
That's the full Typhoon. That's
Oh,
pretty
damn.
awesome.
Yeah. So it's sick.
That's the
Like,
all-electric one?
Yep. And so
And then so is that ventilation up top, or is that the hopper where you pour the beans in?
So that's the hopper. That
Yep.
pipe coming out the ceiling though, like I kind of fell into what is truly like the most perfect roasting
That was already there.
Yeah.
Like a
roasting room
vent.
ever.
Yeah.
That vent connected to a massive fucking oven
Yep.
that the building would use to. It was some sort of like step after screen printing.
Oh, it's like the setup heat. So it's like they put the shirts through the oven.
I think something like
just
that.
to like set the ink.
Yep. And so the room itself is a concrete box built on top of the mill floor. So it's a full fireproof room.
Oh wow! So it's a concrete floor too.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's like a 6-inch curb to get into it.
Wow.
What temperature are the sprinkler heads above that oven? I'm just curious.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
You
may open that one day and get wet. Yeah.
Thankfully, not yet. Now I'm going to think about that.
Put a little
every
shield
time.
there. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Little small shield.
Thank you for that. I needed that.
If that ever happens, call me.
No one has said that before, so thank you.
It's kind of what I do for a living.
Yep.
All right, noted.
Yeah.
But the sick thing about that venting is it's hooked up to a like 3 horsepower motor on the roof.
Yep.
And
Do you have like
so-
a switch for it?
Yeah. So I create a negative pressure room, which for my lungs, having done this for so long, I have some like breathing issues, and so every little plume of smoke, which I don't know if it's seen on this video when I open the door,
So you get smoke out of the machine when you open it.
a little bit,
Yeah.
every time, right? And there's a byproduct called diacetyl that's released during the roasting process. That's also just like ambient and kind of like sitting.
Yep.
So I'm able to close the fire door, which is like a huge
There
like,
it is,
metal
yeah.
sliding door.
Yep.
And I just keep the door on my right open with a window, and it's pulling air out at a pretty impressive rate, which is
That's great.
I like fell into
That's like
that.
game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yep. That picture right there is 5 points.
This one?
Left twice.
This one?
Yep, the background image there. So
Oh.
5 points was like this old graffiti warehouse in Queens.
Okay.
And so I'd pass that building every day. on
Yeah.
the
If you ever
7
watch,
train.
was it Now You See Me?
Uh-huh.
That's 5 Points is where they do the ending scene there.
Yep.
Yeah.
RIP, because 5 Points is now a luxury condo.
Is it really?
Oh yeah,
that's a shame.
they white walled the building like overnight one night and then demoed it, and now a glass thing.
So so that's where the name came from.
Yeah, and the color label is actually the color like that.
The color of the building.
Yeah. I pulled it off the building before I that's like a faded image, but
Yep. That's awesome.
yeah, and the idea is kind of like 5 points, right? Was like synergy of art.
Yeah.
Like layer and layer and layer of like new pieces of new pieces. And I kind of like to think the blend is aiming to do the same with its inputs.
That's awesome.
That's very essential. Yeah.
I love the
Layer on
brand.
layer on layer. I love it.
So, and the branding's great. The piece that you have Phil doing is cool. It looks good over the logo.
The idea on that was like sticker tagging.
Yeah.
Growing up, seeing that all
yeah,
over the
slaps.
city. Yep.
Put 'em everywhere.
Slaps. So
Yep.
I worked with a bud, Gus Rosenbernstein. Thank you, Gus, who kind of took the branding I had, which was only a logo. So I was kind of like that classic where it's like, oh, let me just slap the one thing I
The
have
logo on everything. Yeah.
And he kind of grew, the world, so to speak, of the brand.
Now you have a naming convention and a logo and everything. It all makes sense
Couple
now.
tags, so it's worked out.
Yeah, that's sweet. And Phil being local is great. You can get labels quick. If you need a change on the fly or something,
Yep.
that's awesome.
Overnight.
Yep, that is awesome. So you've been in the space since you said April now.
I moved
no.
into space in February.
February,
So we're
yep.
coming up on a year. And that was like, like I said, it was raw. So, the kind of like packing room, I had to lay a floor. Tony Lee, if you're listening, thank you for building everything. And I'm not handy. So it was a lot of work, putting like FRP up and laying a vinyl floor, doing plumbing, had to do some like electrical because that's like a weird European 3-phase machine.
The Typhoon.
Yeah. So I needed like 380 to
Everything
400
in Europe's
volts.
3-phase.
Yep.
3-phase 220. Like,
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yep.
What are we doing here?
The building has absurd amount of power.
And
'cause it was,
yeah,
like,
so any
grandfathered in.
old mill like that would probably have 3-phase. Just
Yep.
a matter of getting an electrician to fucking get in there and figure it out.
Yeah, that's like a lot of the old machine shops and stuff have all that
Hell,
crazy stuff.
my next door neighbor had 3-phase in his barn.
Yeah.
And he
way.
pulled it out. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I want to hook machines up there.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That was part of the issue in finding a space, like you were alluding to, was like I needed 3-phase, I needed gas,
Yeah.
I needed kind of a roof over
Taller,
my head.
yeah.
Like I couldn't have a second story above me
Oh, yeah. You need to
right.
be on the top floor.
because of venting. And this kind of like I remember the realtor who I was working with, he's like, yo, like like we were just driving through kind of like the Valley District, and my wife saw a sign on this building, and we're like, all right, let's just take it down.
Yeah.
Because we were, I was like, it was a miss. Everywhere I called, it just wasn't working out. And the realtor was like, yo, I just spoke to the building owner. Like, he has everything you need. I know you weren't looking for like a mill, especially on the second floor, but maybe check this out. And
It's better than nothing we've had,
dude.
Yeah.
It's I fell into like such a good arrangement. Like,
That's sweet.
I mean, receiving green. There's a loading dock, so I don't need to pay for lift gate, freight elevator. I have to walk the length of the building with a pallet jack, but
That's not a huge deal.
No,
The pallet jack's like $75. Like, fuck it.
yeah, exactly. It was
The view of a river is cool.
View of a river. Being in Oneyville feels great.
Yep.
Very close to the system.
Close to the system, close to La
John's,
Vega.
favorite
Get
place.
Coney Island hot dogs.
Dude.
It's a good thing.
Not a bad thing at all.
Yep.
So
Good
yeah,
thing we're not in
it's-
North Korea. They banned them. No more hot dogs.
I was going
Whoa.
to bring that up.
Wait,
One of my news
what
stories.
is?
Cooking a hot dog in North Korea is now considered what'd they call it? Fuck.
It's
Treason.
It's
Basically
treason.
Treason.
Get out of here.
Yep. They are fully illegal in North Korea now. Yep.
Oh, that's so bad.
So,
Wait a week. We'll see what happens.
as far as like Board of Health stuff, what do you got? What are you facing with that? Is it just like building code as far as like, all right, if you have this size oven,
That
you
was
need this
actually
type of
gonna be one
ventilation.
of my questions.
But like as far as your packaging room and your roasting room, so what legal stuff did you have to deal with?
That was like another big concern of mine, right? It's like as I kind of like had to make the decision. I'm like, all right, I'll figure out how to make this work.
Yeah.
Moved in, started the build out. Coffee lives in this extremely gray area, whereas like, is it food?
Yeah.
Is roasted coffee prepared food? No, right?
Not really, no.
So it's finding very clear guidelines on anything,
There's also a handful of coffee places in Providence you could probably find a precedent for.
which is what I did. So yeah, I hit up Rick from New Harvest.
Yeah,
who started
that
in.
was
And you worked at a coffee place in Providence prior at some point, right?
Yeah. I was with Bolt for like
Yeah.
9 years.
Yep.
So I had, experience running roasteries. I knew what like Board of Health looked for, what was required. What I didn't know, right, is like, you could clean that main mill room forever.
It's going to
That's
look
all
like it
Continue
looks, though.
and
Yeah.
continue another forever after that, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's over 100 years of work.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, like, how do I know when is enough, sort of thing? And so the recommendation I got from most folks was like, get to like 95% of like what you think, and have Department of Health come in.
Yeah.
And then that way you're showing good face. Maybe you get a short list of things you need to do, but at least then A, B, C, and D I have to get done.
Yeah.
And you move forward.
Right.
I had them come in and they're like, yeah, this is fucking rad.
Sweet.
It was like 16 minutes.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Oh, damn.
And
pretty
like, even as far as they're like, oh, like, why do you have a 3-bay sink? And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I thought I needed a 3-bay sink. They're like, no, you don't have dishes or,
It's like you can wash your hands from a hose spigot for all we care.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's good now that I'm like turning on the event avenue of the space.
Yeah.
You
for
kind of
tastings.
preloaded for other things,
Exactly.
which is fine.
Exactly.
You're
And
ready to
so-
do it up front, then have to go back and change it. You've already spent the money, and now spend it again.
Yeah, it's
Might as
easier
well
than
have done
retrofitting it
right.
later.
Yeah,
Exactly. And then it was just like getting, the appropriate insurance. John, shout out to your brother, Craig.
Oh, did Craig get it squared away?
He helped me out. Big
Cool.
Time.
Nice.
Craig, thank you. But yeah, and that was kind of just like for what the building owner wanted.
Yep.
And then retail permit, wholesale permit, which are pretty straightforward. And it was go time. And so like, I next up is going to be probably getting like some iteration. I have to do the research of like a peddler's license. So I could set up an espresso cart in there and technically legally serve
Coffee
espresso or
out of there.
coffee out of there. So, I have all my local pickups, so I have like probably 30 heads a week rolling through to pick up their bags
Yeah.
for local pickups if they didn't want to like choose shipping, for example.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like it'd be great to just be able to activate another sales channel, by way of having
Yeah.
brewed coffee available.
Sell a cup of coffee when they come in.
When they come
yeah.
through or
Yeah.
whatever. Or, when I pop up for events or,
Yep.
and then that cart perhaps can then, maybe I go that farmer's market route that a lot of coffee
Yeah.
companies do. And
That's
it's
like restoration.
Yeah.
They do like a nitro coffee cart. And you need like
Exactly.
a tricycle with
Yep.
it. And it's pretty cool.
Exactly. So we'll see. I see the cart being like the phase 1B
Yeah.
before the full retail thing,
Yeah.
down the line at some point.
That's great.
So,
I'll have to
yeah.
chat with you when you're in the position that you want to do a farmer's market pop-up. I have a really good contact for you, too.
Oh, sick.
Yep.
Noted.
Big one.
Noted.
Yep. Yeah, she was actually on the show. My cousin Lorna hosts this thing called Sip and Stroll. Is like, it's like 4,000 people every time she does it. It's enormous.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Always a great turnout.
Yep.
And that's local?
Yeah, she does it in Middleborough like twice a year, outdoors on the lawn at the town hall, and then she does it in Kingston, Mass. Everybody knows how indoor malls are kind of becoming like a hermit crab shell now.
The old lady walking track.
Yeah. So there's a mall in Kingston that they do it indoors in the winter.
Got it.
But yeah, it's a pretty big vendor market. A lot of awesome makers of things, and she tries to really keep it exclusively. The people selling stuff is stuff they made.
Right.
So this would be perfect. So
Sick.
yep. But no, it's really exciting stuff, man. I'm pumped for you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So if you're looking to find Enjoy Coffee Roasters, it's just at Enjoy Coffee Roasters on Instagram, enjoycoffeeroasters.com. People can still get on that monthly gig you got going on?
Yep. There's if you go to the website, there's a subscription tab, and you could sign up.
And I imagine there's the incentive of that is you get the newest, best thing automatically shipped right to your door.
Yeah, at a discount too.
At a discount. There you go.
Better.
Boom.
And as far as, we'll assume that, maybe a listener has not listened to the previous episode. You said this coffee is accessible to the average coffee drinker. As far as making this coffee at home, it's all sold whole bean, correct?
It's all sold whole bean. I think one of the difficulties with like selling ground coffee, which I don't want to
The shelf life just is down, right?
shelf life down, but also, it's so dependent on so many variables, which is like really frustrating.
Yeah.
For example, if you're like, hey, I make a French press, right?
Yeah.
You might make a French press with a 2-minute steep time. Mark might make one with a 6-minute steep time.
It's going to drastically change the flavor profile.
And it's going to require a different grind setting. And so I feel like pre-grinding, it just opens the door for disappointment. And so 100% not offering a ground product.
If you're looking for whole bean coffee, you already have a grinder at home.
Yeah.
Totally. And
If you're going this gourmet coffee route,
Yep.
you have the means to take those beans and do whatever you want with
And
them.
I think it's like if you're going to go down that route, you can get a very good burr grinder for around $100. That's
Yeah.
going to last you nearly a decade. I think that investment, while it could sound crazy to someone maybe who has a blade grinder or who has never had one, but if you're going to be buying a bag of coffee for $20, that $100 investment's going to go a real long way.
And what's it called? What kind of grinder?
Fractions.
The one I would recommend is a Baratza Encore.
Okay. And what kind of grinder did you say? The bird grinder?
Burr grinder.
Burr grinder.
Yep. So
Okay.
instead of like the spinning blades on kind of like the cheap ones that are like zing zing zing.
Yeah.
Those create really uneven particle distribution. So you're gonna have really coarse
Yeah, you get
pieces
chunks and fine
and
and
really fine pieces. Those fines have much more surface area. They're going to extract much more quickly than the bigger pieces.
Okay.
A burr grinder are kind of either two conical pieces of metal with kind of cuttings on them, burrs on them.
Okay.
That are going to like much more evenly, fracture.
Yeah,
grind
it's
that
going to
bean.
process
There's
the
always
bean
like the opposite
consistently.
discs that have like just a little bit of
Exactly.
Yeah,
cuts in
yeah.
them. Yep.
Yep.
So I open this bag. Best way to store it after.
My bags there's a
Resealable.
resealable, and there's a one-way valve on them. So that one-way valve allows all the CO2, which is kind of trapped in the bean right now, to off gas without the bags becoming little coffee grenades. Which I have funny stories about that.
Yes.
I would love to hear them.
But yeah, best way to store coffee is out of light and out of air. And so, if you go through coffee really slowly, or let's say you were stocking up on different varieties,
Yeah.
and you're like, I want to sit on them for a while. I tell folks like it's totally appropriate to throw some in a ball jar, seal it, throw it in your freezer. When it goes in your freezer, you're kind of locking in that age. The big point to drive home: once you take that out of the freezer, it's not going back in.
Gotcha.
Because that's when condensation can
It's all or
occur.
nothing. Yeah.
So
Once it's out, you got to start using it
Yep.
as if it was a week old when you put it in there.
Exactly.
It's like you opened a week old coffee and it stays out.
Yep. But yeah, these bags, it's how I store them at home, is in these bags.
Okay.
So They do a great job
on the counter
holding
out
it.
of the light.
Yep.
Some people put them like in the refrigerator. Is that normal? Does that make sense?
I don't think so. It's kind of like this like midpoint of like freezer. The fridge isn't.
It's one of those things where I think everyone in like our age or like my parents' age thought like because refrigeration was new for them at some point.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you keep things cold, they last longer.
Yeah.
They tell you put batteries in the fridge.
Right.
Like no one knows that if that makes any difference.
The fridge isn't going to like. I'm sure it slows down it to whatever nth degree, but not in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
I would say
So it's not hurting anything.
not hurting anything.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
Temperature is wild how it affects
Yeah,
things.
it does. That's why I asked. I was curious.
My wife's making sourdough right now.
Yeah.
And it's like one day I come home and it's in the microwave. Then another day I come not being cooked in the microwave. It's just well, it's
Yeah,
a few
setting
degrees
out.
warmer in the microwave and it's making it, rise faster. And
fascinating.
yeah, it's really cold out right now. And then it's on the counter. And then she's feeding it. It's like a whole thing.
Yeah, dude. It's
Pretty wild. Yeah. It's bubbly.
Bubbly.
I'm excited to eat it. I've not been able to eat any of it yet.
Did we miss any
Sourdough
questions
rules.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
chucked in there?
I don't think I missed any
Phil,
listener
makes
questions.
me love 5 points even better. I didn't even put two.
Oh,
and two
Yeah,
together.
as far as the
shit.
story behind the name.
There it is, Phil. There it is.
Yep. Shouts to
Thumbs-
Thumbs
oh
Forward.
no, dude! I'm sorry.
Oh,
your
he
backyard's
was
on
saying,
fire.
he's saying, I thought that was the CA fires when we had the video of the Typhoon roaster up.
Got it.
He's in San Diego.
Shouts to Thumbs. I hope all your friends and family are safe and okay over there. Definitely let us know how you're doing. And I'm not sure how close is he to where that's going on, Mark?
I
Do you
don't
know.
know.
He's in
I met him in
San Diego.
Anaheim. He lived an hour away from there. So,
Okay.
but I don't know if it was like,
Yeah. Well, no, it's the whole situation
yeah.
sucks. I feel awful about
I
it.
forget where he lived. He's told me like 3 fucking times.
It's
Yeah.
definitely south of L.A.
Is it? I don't know. I'm so bad with geography in places that I don't live. But yeah, so like you said, shouts to people in Philly buying the coffee. We got people in California, Florida in here. We got people from all over.
We got the footprint to make this thing go somewhere. Come on,
Yeah,
guys. Let's
so-
start ordering some coffee.
Yeah, so as far as shipping coffee, you'll ship nationwide or worldwide or what?
Yeah, right now I've shipped all 50 states. I've also shipped to Canada.
There's nothing like shipping the coffee doesn't change the.
You're
anything.
allowed to ship it outside of the country, no problem.
100%.
Oh, yeah, because
Yeah, it's coming from outside of the country.
Yeah.
That food and like weird things going between countries.
You
like,
have you certainly have like, or I certainly have like more forms to fill out when I'm shipping out of country.
Yeah.
In terms of like what the product is, what state is it in? Is it ground? Is it whole bean?
that just means you need to order a lot more if you want it out of the country. Like,
yeah.
make
basically,
it worth
like-
this while to fill out the forms,
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
Let's
if-
come on.
If you're out of the country, just like DM me and we'll figure it out. Which is
Yeah.
kind of how I've like people in Canada have hit me up, and that's kind of how I've done it. It's like I can't offer $5 shipping to Canada.
Have you had a
which is-
full circle moment where it's a bean from Colombia and you ship it back to a person in Colombia?
Yes.
Oh shit!
That's cool.
Yes. The Juliana Guevara, which is the Cheetoso coffee I have on there,
Yeah.
was enjoyed, no pun intended, in Antioquia where that coffee is sailing,
That's so cool.
which is like that was like a really cool moment.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I could have just gone like there and gotten it.
Yeah, no, that must be like a cool full circle moment. Like the seed was shipped from there and roasted in Providence and shipped back and then brewed there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
The
going
only winner is UPS in this one.
in that. You're totally right. Yeah, like it's something that definitely I'm going to be like looking to do this year. Is like just for the business going to origin, which I think I've done it once for a different business many years ago in Bolivia, but it's like producers don't often get to drink their coffee prepared in a finished way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really
So
fun take on, like-
if you were to go visit, you could
I could be
bring
like,
them
hey,
the coffee.
and also it's like, hey, here's this.
yeah, I
bag
guess they
with-
just
with your-
ship it out like they don't. I don't
Yeah.
It's,
think
an
about
it's
it.
an export product, right? And
Yeah.
it's like as long as a
Yeah.
lot of them now.
And then it could be served to them in the way that you intend to, because that's the problem. Here's a good question.
all right.
Do you
I also have a
have
question after this.
do you have a weird relationship with like, okay, Mark, here's this bag of coffee that I have meticulously sourced and roasted, and I'm depending on you not to fuck it up. And then Mark opens it up, grinds it in some Cumberland Farms bullshit grinder, pours it into one of those single-serving K-cup adapters, and it just ruins
Chucks
it.
it into some
Yeah,
Newport-based.
Do you have a
water,
weird
yeah.
relationship with that? Like, do you like? I'm depending on you not to ruin this.
I think Justin of like 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But now, straight up, like I just want
You
people,
want the coffee right? Don't give a fuck what you do.
I
with
just
it.
want
Yeah.
you, I just want you to get them however far you want to go down that path. I want to meet you there.
Yeah.
If it's like, hey, I'm throwing this in my K cup, like which I have family that does that.
Yeah.
It's like they love the coffee, and I'm stoked.
Yeah.
You know,
And they're happy
like,
with the flavor that they're getting out of it. You might know that it's not its full potential, but if the consumer is happy with it, it is what it is.
as long as like honestly, as long as you're able to enjoy it. Again, I'm not trying to like riff
Yeah.
on the word. It's a pun.
Yeah.
As
It's
long
hard
as
not to.
It's as long as they're able to enjoy it
Yeah.
easily and fully. That's what gets me hyped.
Buy the coffee, enjoy the coffee, how you
right.
see best.
Boom.
And listen, if you buy the coffee and you enjoy the coffee, share the coffee. Tell people
Yeah.
about the coffee.
Yes. Please.
Post
coffee
pictures
was
of the
good.
coffee.
That coffee was
This is
delicious.
fucking good.
Sick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be up until Tuesday, but that was delicious.
Yeah.
No, so I have a quick question.
Yeah.
What about a line of custom coffee milks?
That would be. I'm here for it.
That'd be amazing.
John's eyes just lit
Yeah.
up.
So
I love
I
coffee
love
milk.
coffee
Yeah,
milk.
I'm trying to get. I'm actually meeting with the company to figure out canning. I pointed up there because I see the revival
Yes.
can.
Yeah. So, for a lot of listeners kind of heard the backstory of the Revival Cold Start that Justin roasted and coordinated the canning logistics of. The company that was doing that moved across the country, and it's just obviously shipping a pallet of cans is not cost effective.
They've also gone out of business.
Oh, that will do it.
They
too.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a botulism case.
Oh
Yeah.
no,
I did hear about that.
I did not hear
we
about
won't say,
that.
we won't say. who,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
but They are no longer here. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be working with a trying to figure out logistics of a
New canning
a
person.
new canning person locally.
Sweet.
But one of the things I have in mind is like either a coffee milk or like a canned coffee and milk.
I would buy the fuck out of
Oh,
caffeinated
yeah.
coffee milk.
Yeah.
Well, not even having coffee milk, but like a cold brew coffee that is pre-dairied.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
like
I'm talking about coffee
you're talking.
milk.
I know you're talking about coffee milk, but you know what I mean. How you can buy like a Starbucks
Yes,
double shot
yeah,
with
yeah, sure,
some
sure.
sort of dairy product in it already.
I will spend the week in the bathroom for a fucking coffee.
Jesus Christ.
Let me tell you.
Man.
Yeah,
Wow.
very passionate.
Guess so. My
Very
God.
passionate.
Damn, it was my favorite.
I can't
drink.
even handle mixing anything in coffee now. If I don't drink it,
Yep.
fuck, someone gives me someone just nice enough to be like, hey, I got a coffee and it's regular, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
This is funny. The other day,
this shit.
I was getting my coffee in the morning, and literally I pull up and they'll get the little camera, and she's just like, large ice, black one sugar. I'm like, that's the one.
Yep.
And I pull up, and the girl at the counter was new, and she hands me this cup, and I was like, oh, that's not the one, because it literally was black with like a tinge of something. I was like, if there's any milk in that, like it's not gonna be a good day for me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, it has to be all black, and she's like, oh, not even a little cream. No.
Yep.
Oh, and then the girl behind her was like, no, you can't give him that. And then it was like a quick thing, but yeah,
But yeah, I mean, coffee milk is a Rhode Island staple.
I
So
grew up on that.
yeah, so
Aruda's coffee milk.
a craft coffee milk with Enjoy Coffee would be pretty cool.
It'd be sick.
All right, let's trademark that shit right now.
Yeah. Like
It's ours.
what's Autocrat's the one that
Yep.
yeah, that's like the big
Yeah,
one.
The OG. And then Dave's has one now.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that.
They sell them at like Whole Foods and stuff.
That's cool.
Like Dave's Market, Dave's?
Dave, like where are they based?
Dave's
The
Market?
No. The Westerly Roaster, Dave's Coffee.
Oh, okay.
All right.
They also have one cafe on in Providence on South Water Street. But they have a very good footprint in grocery. So they have their coffee milk syrups, which
Yeah.
is like, definitely I feel like.
What about a beer collab? You want to do a beer collab?
Actually, I don't know if I can say.
Okay.
Oh.
Cool.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, I like it. I like where this is headed.
This is a
Stay
future
tuned.
episode. Just
Yeah.
brewing up right here. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Yep.
Yes.
Is this a collab that would excite us?
It is. Yes.
Okay, cool.
And it's happening very soon.
That's
awesome.
rad.
Which I'm hyped about. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. That's very cool. Yep. Coffee and beer go great together.
They do.
They do so well.
They do.
Coffee and everything goes good together.
That's true. Coffee's just an amazing flavor
I-
profile.
Literally had tiramisu last night. It was like store-bought tiramisu.
No
And I got
flack,
to-
but isn't
I
Dave's
got to
coffee
the-
non-single origin?
Fact.
Fact.
They might have a couple, Phil, but most of their coffees are blends. Oh. there
Yeah,
goes,
I-
Sorry,
the
Ryan.
screen.
Had tiramisu last night, and it's like store-bought, just like in just a little container. It was
Yeah.
like left over from Christmas. And I was like, oh, one of Emma's friends was over, and she's like, I've never had tiramisu. So I was like, oh, I'll cut you a little piece, and we
Yeah.
whatever. And I took the bite. I was like, ooh, the coffee. I forgot. Like the little Vienna finger is, or
Yeah.
the little lady finger is just soaked in coffee. I'm like, oh,
Yep.
I'm so happy right now.
Yep. Cassie makes a good tiramisu. I'll bring you one next time.
Yo, you better.
Fun fact:
Yeah.
I had tiramisu for the first time like a month ago.
Really?
Come on.
Yeah, I'm weird. When
Where
it
you
comes
been,
to
bro?
stuff.
It's so good.
I've been in cups instead of in. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean,
That's a-
I'm
that's a
shocked that
story.
you hadn't had it because like it's such a coffee is such a prominent.
It's a prominent flavor profile.
Yeah.
Flavor profile.
Yeah, I mean, that's another episode, just me and food.
Yeah.
It's a weird one.
Well, I think we should do it because you're
Yeah, I
you're
like it.
honestly like one of our favorite guests. So yeah,
Been making tiramisu martinis at the house.
right now.
Yeah, right now.
Oh,
I was like, why are we still here?
yeah. Who is this? Who's
I
making?
said we have, me and my
Oh,
wife.
you have. I
Yeah.
thought you said they're making.
No, we
yeah.
have.
What goes into that?
It's rum chata,
It's about right.
cream. What the fuck else? God, there's like 4 other liquors.
Sick.
Like a chocolate, a coffee one actually.
And no one's ever made me one. I'm just saying.
We were getting them at Della Sport in Boston, right? So we've gone there twice. Me and my wife ordered them.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have 2 more. We're all out. 2 times this has happened. Well, you're all out. It's on your fucking menu. I didn't ask you for something you like. I didn't say, hey, make me some fucking ass backwards martini.
Yeah.
Hopefully you have the shit.
Yeah.
Every
It's
time.
literally
So
on
we
your
have
menu.
no idea if it has to do with the lady fingers they serve with, and they like run out, or they don't want, or they have a
Well,
low
they just don't want to
supply.
deal with it.
So they're just like, yeah, we ran out, and I want to be like, I want to go leave, come back later and order, and see if they like make
Yeah.
them.
Or have
Make it
somebody else
again.
going.
Because I'm
order
like,
it.
this
Yeah.
is literally the second fucking time.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a one and done for them.
Yeah. So we were looking up the recipe, and we've been making them at home, and they're fucking good.
Yeah.
Was that my callback that I made a perfect painkiller?
Yes.
Yes.
That was it.
That is it.
So one of our other previous guests, your friend Adam, right, Ryan?
Adam, yep.
Yeah, Adam came on and he
I'm trying to get him
Ryan-
again. He's down. He's just like his schedule's weird.
Ryan told him I'm a rum guy, and he was like, "Oh, I make a good painkiller." So he made us all painkillers on the show. It's one
He
of my
made us a
favorite
couple of
drinks.
good drinks on
he
the
did.
show, yeah.
He did. And I ended up finding a recipe for painkillers because Cassie and I went out the other night, and I wanted one. I was craving one when we went home. So instead of going to another bar, so let's stop at the liquor store. We'll get the supplies, and then we'll be set up for a while.
$700 later, I made 2 painkillers.
No, it wasn't bad.
They're
It was
not
just-
that expensive.
Yeah, it was
No,
just
I'm
a
just
bottle of
talking
rum,
with- I'm
pineapple
just talking
juice,
with
orange
them.
juice, pretty much. That was it. And the cream of coconut stuff. That was the stuff that's weird because like you open the
Comes that
can.
you got to use the whole thing. Or it's
Yeah,
just going
you
to
open the
trash.
can.
Yeah.
Cassie doesn't drink rum, so I'm like, cool. I'm gonna use 1/10 of this, and then it's going in the bin.
He doesn't drink rum.
Yeah.
The goats are gonna drink it.
Yeah. No, Cassie doesn't drink rum.
Man, that's sad.
Yeah, it is. It's a shame.
Yeah. Painkillers are good. Fucking Paul McGraw made good ones.
Is it- is
He
it
did
like-
make a good one.
Is it like my wife doesn't drink tequila, but she does?
No, yeah. Cassie says that like, oh, rum makes me cry, and it's like every time I've given her
Rob
rum,
makes you cry.
yeah, cry with joy.
I'm not gonna lie. Vodka makes me cry. So
Yeah, I don't like vodka either. But no, we're getting into the weeds here.
Yeah.
But enjoy
wrap this
Coffee
shit up.
Roasters. Justin, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah,
Is
as
there
always.
anything else you want to plug or tell us about?
That's it. Where
What's
we
the
can
next
find
thing
you.
you got coming out? We're about nearing the halfway mark of January. When's the next release?
So next release is January 18th, which is a Oaxacan specialty coffee from Oaxaca, Mexico. And then that'll be followed up by 2 Ethiopian releases, one washed and one anaerobic natural.
Nice.
The anaerobic natural tastes like blue gummy sharks.
Whoa. What? That is a wild flavor profile.
Yeah, dude.
That's going to be the flavor of the coffee?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. All right.
Mark, where are we switching teams?
I'll remember to bring you a bag, Mark.
Yeah. That's
I
Wow.
got you.
man. That's a wild flavor profile.
Those are the next 3 coming out. But yeah, we got an event with La Lupita on the 18th. Which
Is that at your space?
at our
Sold
space.
out.
Yep.
It's
I was
sold
looking
out.
at it.
Yeah, it sold out in like 22 hours.
That's awesome.
Which is like fucking
How great's that?
insane. So yeah, thank you everyone for the support. But yeah, no other real shout outs. Like thank you for everyone who's helped. Thank you guys for having me on.
Of course.
Always, man.
Yeah.
This is a weird question. Well, not a weird question. How many people were working? Like, just you?
Oh, it's just me.
Okay.
Jesus.
I am burnt.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of
What's
work.
your, obviously anyone who owns a business, they never really,
Yeah,
they never stop working.
it's
But like,
100 hours a
What's
day.
your
Exactly.
like hours
So,
kind of like
I'm
at the shop?
It's not terrible. I exaggerate, and also I actually misspoke. My mom pulls a shift every Monday for me, which is awesome. Thank you,
that's
Mom.
sweet.
Oh, shit.
My mom preps all my bags, so she'll throw the labels on.
Oh,
prep,
nice.
Prep roast dates.
That's
So as I
great.
get like wholesale.
Is that bottom section individual label for each roast as well?
Yes.
And that's a transparent label.
Yes.
Yeah. So that. Oh,
Look
okay.
at John. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
so that,
yeah.
that goes into like, for the blend, it's like what origins, but typically
Yep.
it's going to be variety, flavor profile, processing method, elevation.
That's awesome.
And you just pay her in coffee and hope she stays awake.
No, she's.
Here's
my
an
mom
espresso
drinks.
and have a good time.
My mom drinks decaf. So
Oh,
she's,
shit.
dude, she's just an angel and is helping me out to no end, which is awesome.
Do you have a decaf or no?
So I should have talked about that. I have.
How does that process work?
Because my mother-in-law loves coffee.
I have.
Cannot drink caffeinated coffee.
I have one of the better decafs in the country.
That is
Whoa.
awesome.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Look,
And
at
you don't just
I
say
love-
that.
Yeah, you don't
I
just
know,
fucking
I-
say that.
No. It's so like a lot of decaf, right? All right. Do we have a couple minutes?
Yeah,
We have all
absolutely.
day.
We're in no rush.
Yeah.
So decaf largely is like terrible and like terrible, not only like product, but
It always just tastes flat.
it tastes flat, but it's also like absolutely terrible for the planet most of the time.
Really?
And the reason for that is typically you have Central or South American coffees that are the ones being decaffeinated, and they're getting boated to either Switzerland or Germany to either be methyl chloride caffeination process, which is what most commodity decafs are, which is a chemical decaffeination process that has a very like clear note to it, or it's going to Switzerland to be what's called Swiss water processed, which is both of those are trademark processes that pretty much like a handful of factories in Germany and in Switzerland have the rights to. The coffee goes through its process and then has to get boated back to either the U.S. for
Good Lord, that's a lot of
roaster.
carbon footprint.
It's fucking insane. Not only
They
that,
should just have electric boats. That'd be way better.
not only that, but you're getting me being the roaster. I'm getting that coffee a good 6-7 months off harvest.
Yeah.
And that's also degraded in quality or other flavors have been inputted due to that decaffeination process. Fast forward to like 8 or 9 years ago, a new process was developed by Colombia called ethyl acetate, which sounds scary. It's
Anything
kind of-
with ethyl in it sounds scary.
yeah, but it's like play name, which is really what it is sugarcane processed decaf.
Okay.
You'll see that throughout specialty. The beauty of it is it's Colombian coffees being decaffeinated in country and then exported, right? So all that economy stays in country, which is great for the producer. It's great for the roaster because I'm getting that coffee
Way faster.
Ready to
way
go.
faster,
Yeah.
way less carbon footprint. But on top of it, this process is sick. So some scientists who are way smart figured out that a byproduct of sugarcane production, which is like a big agricultural commodity in Colombia, is ethyl acetate. They also figured out that ethyl acetate is a wonderful solvent for caffeine. I'm not sure of the complete nuance of it, but essentially green coffee, like normal caffeinated green coffee,
Yep.
is loaded into these kind of tanks. It is flushed with an ethyl acetate solution, which one like doesn't impart flavor, and two, it removes 99.7%, so the same 0.3% that the FDA mandates for caffeine content. The same amount
To be
is-
considered decaf.
correct. The same amount is removed, but the coffee tastes identical to how that coffee tasted pre-decaffeination process.
Wow.
So-
and that's specific to that process that they use.
To EA decafs, ethyl acetate, or sugarcane. All
Yep.
those names are the same. Now, the kind of like level up that this coffee has, the Elias and Shady, these two brothers and their farm Virgil estate in Colombia, they're decaf often is like the seconds, right? Like what product couldn't get exported? Let me decaf that and get some money for it.
Yep.
They're like, nah.
They're decaffing
do the
their
real
premium stuff.
Yeah.
So they're using just their red and yellow Caturra, which is a variety of coffee, that just plays extremely well with kind of a decaf profile. It is incredible. It's a coffee that when I cupped it, so cupping, when I say that, it's like as I was grading it, I was like, nah, they sent me the wrong thing. Like
It's too good to be decaf.
This
Too
is,
good.
has to be caffeinated.
This is one of
Yeah.
the better coffees I've had this year, let alone one of the better decafs. And so, I've had it running for a bit. Decaf drinkers are like pretty enamored by it. My wife drinks it and loves it, which is
That's awesome.
a great one.
Yeah.
But it is like objectively one of the better decafs out there.
So now I imagine you sell less decaf than caffeinated.
Yes.
Now, when you get this, I guess this question isn't specific to decaf. When you get beans in general, let's say the shelf life of them before you roast them, you can roast some and keep some in the bag, and you don't have to roast them all immediately, right?
Correct.
And then a lot of the game of what you're doing is kind of judging, like, all right, how much of this do I want to roast now versus how much do I want to leave in the bag? Because realistically, you said it only takes 6 to 11 minutes or whatever to roast this stuff.
Yeah. So I'm essentially, there's maybe a half pound excess a week per SKU.
Okay.
I'm mainly roasting to order as opposed to roasting to par.
Yeah, I would say because that must be a fine balance, and like the busier you get, that's going to be more of a game of like, what do I roast now versus what do I? And the packaging is probably almost more time consuming than the roasting, really, right?
It's the packaging. Like my mom does a full day Mondays.
Yeah.
Like a full 8-hour day of just packing for the week.
And she's prepping the bags and actually bagging it as well.
She's just prepping the bags.
Okay.
While Monday and Wednesdays are my roast days, so
Yep.
I'll take kind of half of the week's production on Monday.
Yep.
Pack, deliver, ship Tuesday.
Yep.
Then the second half of the week's production on Wednesday. Pack, ship, deliver, QC, etc. Thursday. Then Friday's kind of like that miscellaneous like cleanup day.
Did you get yourself like a whole ship station set up in there, and you have like UPS pickup and everything, or you deliver it?
I deliver it all.
Yep.
It's still like very kind of like grassroots.
Yep.
Like I have a label like
You get a label printer, yeah.
label printer like week by week as I can afford it. Essentially, I'm like
Adding little bits and
adding
things.
bits and pieces, but it's still very hands on.
Yep. That's cool.
So, but yeah. Mark, I know you asked. Like I'm doing probably like 45, 50 hours a week. In terms of like
that's not bad.
in the space.
For a small business owner, that's
not bad.
That's like
pretty
in the space.
good.
Obviously, I go home.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
sure,
You go home, you're
yeah.
thinking about it.
Of
and,
course.
Like when my daughter goes to bed, I'm writing content for the next
Yeah.
drop or ordering stickers from Phil at midnight.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Phil.
It's all right because that's when Phil's printing them too.
I know.
That's when Phil shines.
There was one email I got back. He's like, fellow night owl. I was like, let's go.
Yep. Well, once again, Enjoy Coffee Roasters on Instagram, enjoycoffeeroasters.com. Buy the coffee, share it, tag your friends, post videos of you brewing it, however you brew it, unless it's in a Keurig machine, then keep that to yourself.
Throw it out. If you have one, throw it out.
Yep. Justin, thanks so much for joining us. This is a lot
Thank
of
you
fun.
guys.
Yeah.
I appreciate you all.
Always
Thank
a
you.
good
Thank you.
time.
Yeah, we'll see